This video is sponsored by Zen 12, the most powerful meditation audio ever. All the benefits of 1 hour's meditation in just 12 minutes. To claim your free Zen 12 MP3 audio, click the link in the description below.
Meditation for Beginners. A simple guide to learn how to relieve anxiety, depression, and stress. Find peace and happiness with meditation and yoga. Chapter 1. How yoga can offer assistance, ease uneasiness. Workout and reflection may offer assistance different of the signs of stress. There are numerous ways frenzy issue can affect your life. The side effects of frenzy issue can influence your brain body and general prosperity. Fits of anxiety, the principal highlight of frenzy issue, are regularly joined by many negative contemplation and troubling physical indications. These considerations and sentiments are frequently hard to oversee and can bring down one's personal satisfaction. Regardless of the difficulties of fits of anxiety and other nervousness indications, there are numerous self-improvement techniques that can help you in adapting to frenzy issue. Various self-care exercises and unwinding methods are accessible to enable you to feel increasingly quiet, serene, and in charge. The absolute most regular unwinding techniques incorporate breathing activities, dynamic muscle unwinding, and perception. These methods have been found to diminish uneasiness and may even enable you to deal with your frenzy side effects. Yoga is an action that really includes each of the 3 of these basic unwinding strategies. Moreover, yoga has been known to help straightforwardness stress diminish sentiments of anxiety and upgrade care. Thus, yoga has been viewed as possibly helpful for individuals with uneasiness issues, including frenzy issues. What is yoga? Yoga is accepted to have started in India over 5,000 years ago, a long time back. Inferred from the old Indian dialect of Sanskrit, the term yoga implies to yoke or unite. Yoga hone includes a joining of the body, intellect, and soul. Through breathwork, contemplation, development, and unwinding yoga can offer assistance, re-establish a sense of individual balance. Yoga has gotten to be a prevalent way to resume the body by expanding quality progressing, adjust and improving adaptability. Numerous individuals are committed to the yoga way of life that incorporates a hone past physical workout. Various non-exercise perspectives of yoga, such as breathing, works out, and reflection can offer assistance, calm and active intellect, and help in letting go of a push. Given the numerous stress decrease benefits of yoga, it isn't shocking that yoga can too be supportive in overseeing fears and frees stress. What is yoga therapy? Essentially, yoga treatment is the application of yoga hones to ease physical and mental well-being conditions, with the sake of advancing self-care and empowering, by and large, well-being. While the hone of yoga in common points to develop the body and intellect, and consequently has the potential for helpful impacts in yoga treatment, we're utilizing particular yoga hones and their known benefits to assist, reduce, or change mental and physical ailments. The advanced term yoga therapy was coined by Swami Kuvalayananda within the 1920s, who accepted the changes. It would be conceivable to degree the physical and psychological changes that happened through yoga hone. His energy brought non-native analysts to India to think about yoga's impact, a magazine, complete yoga institution, and a modern field. Swami Kavalayananda made it conceivable to begin applying the particular impacts of yoga to therapeutic conditions. How can yoga help to get over anxiety uneasiness? Normal yoga hone can assist you remain calm and loose in existence, and can moreover provide you the quality of confront occasions as they come without getting anxious. Yoga hone in a perfect world incorporates the total bundle of asana body stances, pranayamas, breathing strategies, contemplation, and the antiquated yoga logic, all of which has made a difference. A few uneasiness patients recoup and confront life with modern inspiration and quality. The taking after yoga strategies can offer assistance and calm an unsettled mind. These yoga stances can offer assistance, accomplish a cheerful and sound intellect and body. Asana offer assistance discharges pressure and pessimism from the framework. Big toe posture. This posture delicately extends and fortifies, indeed determinedly tight hamstrings. If I'm okay, then why are you creating the problem? Big toe pose. Step-by-step instructions. Step 1. Stand commendable at the side, your feet parallel and around 6 inches apart. Assert your front thigh muscles to carry your kneecaps. Keeping your legs entirely straight, take a breath and turn forward from your hip joints, moving your center and head joined unit. Step 2. Slide the record and center fingers of each hand between the expansive toes conjointly the resultant toes. At that time, turn those fingers underneath and get a handle on the expansive toes, positively collapsing the thumbs over the inverse 2 fingers to confirm the wrap. Press your toes down against your fingers. On the off likelihood that you just essentially cannot achieve your toes, whereas not excessively altering your back, pass a lash underneath the bundle of each foot and grasp the ties. Step 3. With an internal breath, lift your center as in spite of the fact that you are reaching to stand up once more, settling your elbows. Extend your front center, and on the taking after breathing out, lift your sitting bones. Unexpected upon your versatility, your lower back will empty to a more noticeable or lesser degree. As you're doing this, release your hamstrings and purge your lower intestine underneath your navel, moreover daintily lifting it toward the back of your pelvis. Step 4. Lift the most noteworthy point of your sternum as high as conceivable. However, take thought not to lift your head so distant, merely pack the back of your neck. Keep your sanctuary free. Back in traction, reclining hands to big toe pose. This apparently straightforward posture enables you to dive into your cognizance as well. As indicated by yoga reasoning, cognizance contains 3 parts: conscience, amakara, mind, manners, and knowledge, Buddha. Regularly, the conscience, which relates to what we can move, see, and know, commands our mindfulness. As you do the posture, see if your consideration goes to your raised leg, while the leg on the floor is no longer of any concern. Albeit the activity may appear to happen in the top leg, the advantages of the posture originate from the best possible expansion of the leg on the floor, and the transaction between the 2 legs. Despite the fact that your personality may feel delighted on the off chance that you destroy your foot near your head or seize your enormous toe with your fingers, rather let the knowledge in your lower leg decide how far to expand your raised leg. The outcome will be a more secure, increasingly valuable posture for your legs, hips, and back, and more noteworthy, consciousness of the association of body and brain. Tight hamstrings do not need to deter you from practicing this posture, utilizing the belt within to begin with and moment varieties make it available to all. The second variety extends the lifted legs adductor muscles and can offer assistance, address asymmetries within the pelvis and sacrum, and calm sciatic torment. Both varieties educate the intelligent between legs, hips, and lower back. Principles that can be interpreted into your hone of standing forward, twisting situated, and rearranged asana. Pose benefits. Decreases robustness in bottom back and a couple of sorts of backbone pain. Extends disabled calves and internal thighs. Relieves joint agony, torment in hips and knees. Aligns pelvis. Contraindications. Hamstring tear first and final varieties. Feminine cycle pregnancy and diarrhea. High blood weight or a tight thoracic spine. Put a collapsed cover under your head. In this first variety, you'll figure out how to measure how far you can raise the inspired leg and extend your cripple while adjusting the arrangements of your hips, pelvis, and bottom back. Lie on your far end with the bottoms of your feet against the divider. Twist your knees marginally and place your laurel wreath under your sacrum. Utilize your hands to slide the skin of your bum and sacrum bottom the divider as if you were soothing out and expanding your lower back. At that point, push your heels into the divider and fix your legs without losing the change you just gave yourself. This alteration provides a significant feeling of guidance for you all through the posture, so don't hesitate to rehash it in the event that you've lost the vibe of protracting the sides of your bottom back towards the divide. Press the two thighs down and check whether or not you'll get them to contact the bottom. Grow your calves to your heels as you press the inner edges of your heels into the divider. Curve your red dress knee into your chest and spot the belt around your foot. Hold the perimeters of the belt in each hand. Whereas not annoying your left leg, extend and raise the right leg until it shapes a 60-degree purpose to the bottom. It has to be compelled to be one thing, but arduous to repair the two legs. In this state of affairs, you cannot, or at intervals, the event that your regular bum cheek lifts off the bottom over the right leg barely. As you pin the foremost part of your left thigh into the land spin, it's internal, so the inward thigh remains grounded. Reach out from here as you press your inward left heel into the divider. Check whether you can be touchy, to be recumbent in your left leg as you raise your correct leg more like a 90-degree point. By building up this unpretentious effectability, you assemble body insight. On the off chance that the front of the left thigh springs up, respite and press it down. Try not to enable your sense of self's motivation to wrench your foot nearer to your head, overwhelm that inward insight. Consume your calves to your heels. Watch the precise piece. Despite everything, it feels long on the ground. The methodology, it did once you level it associated with your hands. If not, move the outer right hip towards the divider to consume the proper a part of your back and district. Move the proper long bone right down to ground the right hip affiliation. Besides, sustain bare edges on the bottom. Widen over the chest and collarbones, and as well as any of the weight at interims, the rise to neck and throat. Just on the off likelihood that your head tilts backwards, spot a covering beneath it. Presently, twist your elbows apiece and see whether you can carry your correct foot nearer to your head. Go gradually, with the goal that you don't lose the augmentation of your left inward leg and the length in your correct midsection. The closer your correct foot comes towards your head, the more you need to press your left thigh down, your inward left impact point into the divider, and your correct hip down into the floor. Give these activities a chance to decide how high to take the correct leg. At the end of the day, as opposed to concentrating on your correct leg's edge from the middle spread, your mindfulness all through every one of the parts of the posture while extending that leg. Hold the posture for as long as 1 moment, and after that, twist your correct knee and discharge the leg down to the floor. Stretch 2 heels into the divider before evolving sides. Step 5. For the following couple of inward breaths, lift your middle unequivocally as you keep on effectively contract your front thighs. On each progressive exhalation, firmly lift your sitting bones as you deliberately loosen up your hamstrings. As you do this, develop the empty in your lower back. Step 6. At long last, breathe out, twist your elbows out to the sides, pull up on your toes, extend the front and sides of your middle, and tenderly lower into the forward twist. Step 7. If you've got exceptionally long injury, you'll draw your brow towards your shins. But in case your injuries are brief, it's a way to center on keeping the front middle long. Slouching into a forward twist isn't secure for your lower back and does nothing to extend your injury. Beginner's tip. Within the sound, simply can, as it were, the sizable exertion. Hold your toes along with your knees, straight circle, a yoga lash, circular the center of each blend, of each band, for a hand hold as a choice than bending your knees. Beginner's tip. Within the sound, simply can, as it were, with sizable exertion, hold your toes along with your knees straight circle, a yoga lash circular the center of each bend for a hand hold. Benefits. Quiets the mind and soothes pressurization. Uneasiness and mellow invigorates the liver and kidneys. Extends the inja and calves. Strengthens the thighs. Improves handle mitigates. The reaction of menopause mitigates. Cerebral torment and rest hardship. Natural anxiety relief. Accessible surveys of a wide-run yoga hones recommend they can diminish the effect of overstated push reactions and may be accommodating for both uneasiness and discouragement. In this regard, yoga capacities, like other self-soothing procedures such as reflection unwinding, workout, or indeed socializing with friends. By diminishing such stress and uneasiness, yoga shows up to balance stress reaction frameworks. This, in turn, diminishes physiological excitement, for case diminishing the heart rate, bringing down blood weight and facilitating breath. There's moreover proof that yoga hones offer assistance, increment heart rate, inconstancy, a marker of the body's capacity to reply to push more adaptably. In spite of the fact that numerous shapes of yoga hone are secure, a few are strenuous and may not be fitting for everyone. In specific elderly patients or those with portability issues, they may need to check to begin with a clinician sometime recently choosing yoga treatment as an option. But for numerous patients managing with sadness, uneasiness, or push, yoga may be a really engaging way to superior oversee indications. Without a doubt, the logical thought about of yoga illustrates that mental and physical well-being are not fair closely united, but are basically proportionate. The proof is growing that yoga hone could be a moderately low-risk, high-yield approach to making strides by and large health. Bound angle pose. Baddha mean bound. Kona mean angle. Step 1. Sit. Close your legs adjusted out previous, then you're raising your pelvis on a diffusion, just in case your hips or crotches are tight. Take a breath out, bend your knees, drag your influence variables towards your pelvis. At the time you drop your knees, resolute the edges and press the bottoms of your feet with one another. Prepare, and bring your heels as close to your pelvis as you can, while no problems will. Step 2. With the imperative and diminutive finger and thumb, acknowledge the astounding toe of every foot. Incessantly hold the terrace edges of the foot steady on the ground. Within the event it's not conceivable to guard the toes, affix every hand circular, the increase to viewpoint diminished leg or shin. Step 3. Sit with the objective that the pubis in the first and the vestigial tail in back are equidistant from the floor. The perineum at that point will be generally parallel to the floor and the pelvis in a fair-minded pose. Firm the behind and bare bones against the back and extend the front center through the almost noteworthy point of the sternum. Step 4. Never control your knees down, or maybe release the pioneers of the thigh bones to the floor. At the point when this action drives the knees, seek after. Step 5. Stay through this posture someplace at intervals the extent of 1 to 5 minutes. At that moment, respire, carry your knees from the flooring and exhaust out the legs back to their special position. Open hips are a top priority for many yogis, and for good reason. Maintaining flexibility and stability in the hip joints is crucial for lower back health, not to mention for cultivating overall freedom and ease in our bodies. And opening the hips can be particularly helpful when it comes to sitting comfortably for extended periods of time in meditation. In this sequence, we'll warm up with standing postures to strengthen the outer hips, ensure stability and proper positioning of the femur in the hip sockets, release tension in the lower back, and stretch the inner thighs. With the outer hips turned on the inner thighs, prepared, and the core awake, you'll more readily launch into the peak pose, flying pigeon. Remember, even if this pose feels out of reach, there's a benefit in the attempt. Finally, we'll move into deeper stretches on the floor to help release any of the trapped physical and emotional tension. Easy pose. Sit cross-legged with one shin before the other and your feet beneath your knees. Draw your navel and protract your spine and unwind your bare edges down your back. Breathe in to protract your spine, indeed more, and on a breathe out, rectify your arms and incline forward, remaining up on risen fingertips. Delay here for 5 profound breaths. Downward facing dog pose. Go to your hands and knees. Bring your hands 1 or 2 of creeps before your shoulders and unfold your fingers. In conjunction with your feet, hip separation isolated, bend your toes below and raise your hips. Thrust towards sinking your legs, whereas slithering your heels toward the bottom. Keep for 5 full breaths. Standing forward bend. Standing forward bend, walk your hands back toward your feet. Together with your fingertips on the tangle, firm your legs and spread forward. Inspire the event, just feel any effectability in your hamstrings, or move back, twist your knees fundamentally. Remain here for 5 full breaths. By then, walk your hands, pull back to down canine. Extended side angle pose. From down dog, put your redress foot between your hands and turn your back toes in to some degree toward the cleared out half of your tangle. Ground down through your rectify hand on the tangle or a square interior, your redress foot. At that point, lift your cleared out arm skyward. Utilize your adjust arm to press your knee open as you grasp the proper hip in to extend your center and open your benefit internal hip. Hold for 3 to 5 breaths at that point, go over on the inverse side. Tree pose. From Tadasana mountain posture, put your right heel tall up on your cleared out inward thigh, or underneath the knee but not on the joint. Put your hands on your hips, making beyond any doubt your pelvis is indeed in all bearings as you embrace your external cleared out hip in towards your midline and expand through your right knee. Interface your eyes to one point, your drishti, as you bring your hands to Anjali Mudra greeting. Still remain here, or develop your hands overhead and remain there for 5 profound breaths. At that point, rehash on the other side. Discharge at that point back to down puppy. Extended triangle pose. From warrior 2, fix your front right leg and move your right hip back as you reach forward and get your right lower leg along with your right hand, or put the hand exterior the leg on the tangle or a square. Coast your spine over your front leg and open your chest, keeping the front ribs and navel in. Lift your cleared out arms skyward and look up towards your cleared out hand in case that feels alright on your neck, in the event that not see sideways or down. Remain in this position for 5 profound breaths. Half moon pose. From triangle, see down and slide your right hand almost a foot before you a small to correct of your right foot. Step your cleared out leg up and return to all the activities of triangle posture. Embrace your right hip toward the midline, firm. Your back leg lifted, protract both sides of your midriff and draw your ribs and navel in. Settle your look toward your tangle, to the side or up toward your lifted hand. Remain here for 5 profound breaths. Move through vinyasa. At that point, rehash warrior 2 triangle posture and half moon posture on the cleared out side. Horse stance with Garudasana, eagle position, arms. Spot your feet 3 to 4 feet isolated beside your toes, clothed at a 45-degree edge. Wrap your cleared out arm to a lower place, your prophet, and lift your lower arms inverse to the tangle. Hunch down, thus your knees track toward your resultant toes. With tear back, broaden your chest as you drag your hips back. Hold here for 5 breaths. Keeping your legs bent, bring your center back, solid switch the cross of your arms and iterate. Spot your hands on your tangle and are available back to down dog. Props and modifications. To get at the discharge of the heads of the thigh bones, overlap 2 covers and put one beneath each external thigh, supporting the thighs an inch or so over their most extreme extent. At that point, lay a 10-pound sand sack on each internal crotch parallel to the wrinkle between the thigh and pelvis. Discharge the thigh heads absent from the weight and let them sink into the covers. Don't utilize the sacks unless the thighs are bolstered. Beginner's tip. It can be troublesome to lower the knees toward the floor. On the off chance that your knees are exceptionally tall and you're throughout adjusted, be beyond any doubt to sit on a tall bolster, indeed as tall as a foot off the floor. Benefits. Invigorate stomach body part, ovaries and prostate organ. Bladder and kidneys stimulates the heart and moves. Forward common flow stretches the internal slapper. Crotches and knees. Makes a difference, calm, gentle, sadness, anxiety and fatigue. Soothes menstrual inconvenience and sciatica. Tall blood weight, fruitlessness and asthma. Stress is packed in rush hour gridlock when you're in a rush. It's a troubling ailment, a contention with your accomplice, an occupation going bad. It's the need to think about a sick parent and a heap of unpaid bills. Stress has numerous appearances and jerks into our lives from numerous headings. Regardless of what causes it, stress bothers the body and the brain. It floods the bodies with pressure hormones. The heart pounds. Muscles tense. Breathing revives. The stomach stirs. The body's reaction to stress was sharpened in our ancient times. By and large, called the fight or flight reaction, has helped people endure dangers like creatures, assaults, flames, floods, and strife with different people. Today, clear threats like those aren't the principal things that trigger the pressure reaction. Any circumstance you see as compromising or which expects you to assimilate to a change can set it off. Also, that can mean something bad. Ceaseless pressure can prompt hypertension and coronary illness. It can hose the safe framework, expanding powerlessness to colds and other basic contaminations. It can add to asthma, stomach-related issue, malignant growth, and other medical issues. New research even supports the idea that significant levels of pressure, some way or another, accelerate the maturing procedure. In spite of the fact pressure is unavoidable, you can help control your body's reaction to it. Exercise contemplation, conjuring the unwinding reaction, and care are incredible pressure busters. Bow pose. This posture is so called since it looks like an archer's bow, the middle and the legs speaking to the body of the bow, and the arms the string. Step 1. Lie on your stomach together with your hands, close by your center, palms up. You'll lie on a crumbled spread to pad the front of your center and legs. Exhale and wind your knees, bringing your heels as close as you'll have the option to your bottom. Reach back alongside your hands and grab hold of your lower legs, however not to the highest points of the feet. Make without question your knees aren't more broad than the width of your hips, and keep your knees hip width for the length of the stance. Step 2. Breathe in and without equivocalness raise your heels truant from your buttocks, and at a comparable time raise your thighs lost from the ground. This could have an impact on activation of your higher center and leave the ground. Burrow the vestigial tail down to the ground and keep your back muscles touchy. As you proceed lifting the heels and thighs higher, press your bare edges immovably against your back to open your heart. Draw the split of the shoulders truant from your ears. See forward. Step 3. With the middle crushed versus the ground respirations hard. Breathe a lot of into the rear of your center and make certain to not stop moving. Step 4. Stay during this course someplace among the extent of 20 to 30 seconds. Unharness as you exhale and lie inconspicuously for many breaths. You will reassess the cause on over one event a lot of. Health-giving applications. Stoppage, mild backache, fatigue, anxiety. In some cases, apprentices discover it hard to carry their thighs absent from the ground. You may permit your legs a touch-up boost by lying together with your thighs backed on a rolled cowl. An accomplice can enable you to chip away at readiness for Dhanurasana. Perform stage 1 in the portrayal above. Have your accomplice bow on the floor behind you, with his internal knees propping your internal knees. Breathe in and lift your upper middle off the floor by pulling your heels from your hind quarters, yet keep your thighs on the floor. Your accomplice should then grab hold of the backs of your lower leg. Drape your middle from your accomplice's help, yet be certain that he doesn't maneuver you any more profound into the posture. At the point when you're prepared for an additional lift yourself up. Your accomplice's essence is only to help whatever lift you make alone. A variety of Dhanurasana is named Parsva Facet Flank Dhanurasana. Perform Dhanurasana as indicated by the rules within the primary portrayal higher than. At that time, with associate in nursing exhalation, plunge your correct shoulder towards the ground. Unambiguously pull your left foot to at least one facet and switch over onto your correct facet. Understudies often have a difficult time turning over for the initial few times they create the endeavor. Attempt to not surrender. You'll work on moving onto your facet while not holding your lower legs. Merely twist your knees and utilize your hands to change you to induce this show on the road development. Stay up on your correct facet for 20 to 30 seconds at that time. As you expire, ease up your abdomen and over to at least one facet. Stay here, a similar and associate in the same. Time allotment. In conclusion, go onto your fatty tissue with an exhalation. Parsvadhanasana offers an honest back rub to your abdomen organs. Chapter 2. How to hone mindfulness contemplation, meditation. Whether you're considering just about family life, work, school, or what you're progressing to play supper. Whether you're considering just about family life, work, school, what you're progressing to, play, supper, what to feel when you're at a finals night party, or all of the over, it's straightforward to urge, caught in an exceedingly style of whirling issues. In some cases, we tend to ruminate on past events, even to the degree that it ends up in anxiety, or we tend to center on the could-be circumstances of the longer term. Attentiveness contemplation is also a mental making ready hone, which will be validating in these circumstances. It brings you and your contemplations into the show centering on feeling contemplations and sensations that you're encountering within the present. Whereas it may be initially difficult to calm your contemplations with time and hone, you may encounter the advantages of attentiveness, reflection, tally less stress and uneasiness, and so relieved conditions like IBS. Techniques will amend. However, in common attentiveness, reflection includes a respiratory hone mental symbolism, attentiveness of the body and intellect, and muscle and body unreeling. Learning care intercession is direct enough to rehearse alone, yet an instructor or program can help you as you start, especially in case you're rehearsing contemplation for explicit well-being reasons. While a few people reflect for longer sessions, even a couple of minutes consistently can have any kind of effect. Here's an essential system to enable you to begin. 1. Locate a peaceful and agreeable spot. Sit in a seat or on the floor with your head, neck, and back straight, yet not hardened. It's likewise useful to wear happy with apparel so you're not occupied. 2. Attempt to set aside all recollections and future and spotlight on the present. 3. Become mindful of your breath, adjusting to the impression of air moving all through your body as you relax. Feel your midsection rise and fall, and the air enter your nose and leave your mouth. Focus on the manner in which every breath changes and is unique. 4. Watch each idea go back and forth, regardless of whether it be a stress, dread, tension, or expectation. At the point when considerations come up in your psyche, don't overlook or smother them. Just note them, keep quiet, and utilize your breathing as a grapple. 5. In the event that you wind up becoming overly enthusiastic in your contemplations, see where your brain is headed to without judgment, and simply come back to your relaxing. Keep in mind not to be challenging for yourself if this occurs. 6. As the opportunity arrives, sit for a moment or two, getting to be mindful of where you are. Get up bit by bit. What is mindfulness meditation? Care contemplation is an unwinding strategy that takes your mindfulness back to the present. During care practice, the meditator enables contemplations to emerge without attempting to stop or pass judgment on them. For instance, disagreeable contemplations identified with dread, judgment, fault, and stress may come up. Care is the demonstration of recognizing these considerations and enabling them to pass. Care contemplation depends on the possibility that a great many people push away or disregard their present musings and sentiments. Many accept that in the event they overlook negative contemplations, those considerations will essentially leave. In any case, care really enables you to disengage from negative speculation by confronting considerations without response. By giving awkward contemplations a chance to go without responding, you can build up another reaction to dread and nervousness. After some time and with training, care contemplation can make inward agreement, lucidity, and harmony. Numerous individuals discover yoga and reflection to be valuable ways to diminish push and uneasiness. Yoga can assist you to let go of pressure all through the body, move forward with concentration, and unwind. Contemplation can be utilized alone or as portion of a yoga hone, and is additionally an extraordinary way to help you in feeling more adjusted, calm, and focused. These unwinding methods can be practiced upon walking to calm and diminish morning uneasiness and begin the day feeling revived. They can, too, be utilized at the conclusion of the day to let go of any built-up stress and pressure. Minimize morning anxiety. Many human beings with anxiety sickness wake up feeling so worried and full of dread that they just choose to curl up beneath the covers and no longer face the day ahead. Try now not to get discouraged though, as there are a host of ways to limit morning nervousness and wake up excited to begin the new day. Your sleep habits. Getting appropriate shut-eye is greatly imperative for your mental and physical well-being. In reality, rest issues like troubles falling asleep, snoozing, and/or remaining sleeping are known to cause an assortment of mental and physical complaints. These incorporate cerebral pains, diminished diminished vitality, destitute concentration, short-term memory issues, fractiousness, and uneasiness. A couple of stable rest affinities to consider or considering getting includes: go to your sleeping cushion simultaneously every night and wake up at the indistinguishable time every day, checking ends of the week. Utilize your bedding. Use it for unwinding and sex. Keep your room bloodless, around 65 degrees Fahrenheit, and diminish contribute in room. Obscuring shades or blinds, abstain from stimulating exercise a few hours, sometime nowadays rest time, for case looking television chipping away at your PC. Working out regularly and drinking caffeine participate in a loosening up development sometime of late rest time, like bending up with a great book or getting a back rub from your assistant. Examine your morning routine. There might be portions of your morning plan that are nervousness inciting, for example, a ready that stuns you alert and sends a flood of adrenaline coursing through your veins. In case this is the situation, consider changing your caution to one that wakes you with soothing music. Your AM uneasiness may in addition be intensified by the not insignificant rundown of tasks you might want to add up to. To keep a vital good ways from inclination excited, give yourself abundance of time inside the morning, hitting the snooze button, which can lose your rest cycles, and your arrangement could be a no-no, and all out a couple of errands the night sometime as of late for event squeezing tidbits or arranging dress. Benefit of morning routine. Does your present morning schedule comprise of hitting the nap button multiple times and exiting the entryway 5 minutes after the fact as you've put on your shoes and eaten a protein bar, all while browsing email on your telephone? Starting there on our whole day can feel like we're continually attempting to surge and make up for lost time, never truly feeling large and in charge or exceptionally profitable. We can improve. A considerable lot of us are occupied, have a great deal of duties and commitments, and regularly feel tied for time. Having an extraordinary morning schedule can have a significant effect in being profitable, accomplishing objectives, feeling sorted out, and doing the majority of this with certainty. It's notable that morning schedules can be a major issue for individuals having incredibly beneficial days. Especially in the expert fields of offers and initiative, the improvement of a strong morning schedule can be a deal breaker regarding efficiency and achievement. In spite of the fact that not all of us in deals or an administration position at work, we're altogether intended to be pioneers of our own lives. This incorporates giving ourselves the best open door for inclination, sure and beneficial every day. Efficiency mentors recommend that day-by-day propensities can be a pointer of expanded profitability and accomplishment. In spite of the fact that mentors have different thoughts on the kinds of day-by-day propensities to incorporate, most concur that how we start our day tremendously affects how the remainder of the day appears to go. Making a morning schedule isn't centered around who can achieve the most or confirm more boxes than every other person. It's tied in with enabling yourself to start your day with certainty, harmony, and an uplifting frame of mind. Beginning the day along these lines can enable us to viably finish errands and to deal with things that come our way without always feeling focused or empowered or overpowered. Emotional health. Feeling great physically can certainly impact how we feel sincerely. We, as a rule, do not walk around having the flu with a grin on our confront or being excessively idealistic. Our passionate well-being can be affected by how we feel, how we're overseeing our day. When we're continually in a surge and attempting to make the following arrangement continuously running behind, or feeling misplaced in a sea of errands, we're able to effectively end up overpowered, pushed, pitiful, and baffled. Over time, in the event that this were a non-stop design, it makes sense that we may conceivably start to feel miserable, as on the off chance that we'll never capture up. A sense of peace and certainty in our day can offer assistance to us, keep us with a positive, passionate well-being, and offer assistance to us, gotten to be much more versatile amid the times of push. Physical health. Agreeing to experts from Harvard Exchange School and Stanford School Workplace, push can be as hurting to our prosperity as utilized smoke. In all actuality, in a Nielsen review, it was nitty-gritty that up to 80% of used adults experienced workplace stress. In the event that that sounds extraordinary, working all day outside of the local. As stretch additions, our sheltered structure can wound up less convincing at doing combating off colds, influenza, sensitivities, and other basic physical concerns. Relationships. When we feel overpowered and focused on our feelings, can effortlessly appear up in our connections with vital individuals in our lives. How many times have you come home from a long, unpleasant day and taken your dissatisfaction out on an adored one? This may be through venting outrage, or indeed confinement from those we love. As we begin building a morning schedule that permits us to feel more certain, beneficial, and flexible, we might discover that our connections feel closer, more associated, and positive as well. Productivity. The morning pursuits help us set the tone for the day, higher permitting us to manipulate our schedules as a substitute than our timetable controlling us. As we begin each day fresh, we can higher focal point on what is in front of us, the place to prioritize our time, and ultimately make bigger our productivity. Productivity is not continually about how an awful lot we're getting completed, however, can additionally refer to the stage of fantastic and intention we're giving to tasks. Finish the day with 10 half-completed duties feels a lot distinctive than finishing 6 tasks and feeling proud of your exceptional work. When we're continuously reacting to additional task stresses or wishes of others, we can locate it very tough to correctly prioritize and follow through. Confidence. Being positive implies, quite essentially, oral communication I like myself. True, certainty is developed through encounters. Effectiveness may well be a term that alludes to our conviction that able to accomplish objectives and total tasks, a conviction in our possessed capacities. Numerous from vanity that is associated in nursing diagram of our sentiments of self-worth effectiveness is a lot of persuasion in creating a distinction, United States, constructs certainty and resilience. Walking through encounters in our day and extremely look at ourselves, finishing errands, and feeling a way of accomplishment makes a distinction to strengthen our sense of effectiveness. Having a morning schedule makes a distinction to line the organize, for means higher prioritizing a lot of compelling time management and a lot of outstanding potency. All of this, in turn, is probably going to possess a positive effect on our effectiveness. Peace. Stress can cause us a parcel of inconvenience, sincerely, physically, in our careers and in our connections. Not feeling as in the event that ready to finish assignments, or feeling as in the event that we're always behind, causes extraordinary push. Our self-efficacy feels more when we're able to start to encounter negative self-talk and conclusion, feeling bothered and overwhelmed. A strong, steady morning schedule can offer us time to hone purposefulness, mindfulness, and/or supplication driving to sentiments of more noteworthy peace as we go through our day. Feeling profitable in our day can lead to a more quiet evening, and in turn, distant better, much better, a higher, a stronger, and an improved, stronger night's rest, and a revived morning. Remember, give yourself time. Don't hit snooze. It can be so difficult, particularly within the starting, to not go back to ancient ways and hit that snooze button, so you'll lay in bed for a fair small longer. A great morning schedule permits you sufficient time to really enjoy and advantage from your routine. The sums of time can shift from individual to person, but might run any place from 30 to 90 minutes. There's some of the time the suspicion simply have to wake up at 4 a.m. Arrange time to have a great morning schedule. Efficiency experts recommend that you simply tune into yourself and know what would be practical for you to do and keep up with it. Do not stress around what others are doing. Key things to remember: set a sensible time to wake up. Give your schedule between 30 to 90 minutes. Do not hit the nap button. Move your body. Your past morning schedule might have been to wake up and instantly get your phone, lying in bed for around 45 minutes, looking through Instagram, or indeed checking emails for work. Efficiency coach Jim Collins proposes that in creating our morning schedule, we ought to consider a few things we might halt doing, instead of centering all of our consideration on what to include to our day. On the off chance that we permit ourselves time away from the screen, ready to utilize those minutes for standing up, stretching, yoga, or indeed going for a brief walk. Personal development within the morning will be way better than lying in bed on social media. we're effectively waking up our muscles as well as our minds. Key things to remember: don't remain in bed when the alarm goes off. Any development is supportive, it doesn't need to be intense. Stretching, yoga, and strolling are great cases. Practice stillness. Exercises like reflection, breathing, and supplication square measure all extraordinary cases of what this would possibly see like as portion of your morning schedule. Active stillness can help us feel grounded, centered, and ready to rank with success on our errands. Skipping this step will lead us to proceed feeling surged, a fewer viable in our day that routs the purpose of making an excellent morning routine. Key things to remember: stillness is honest, and it's very important as development among the morning. Active stillness makes a distinction for us to learn the way to center our energy. Meditation, supplication, and respiratory works out square measures, nice illustrations. Fuel properly. Since we've been kids, we have probably heard the message that an accurate day starts with a desirable breakfast. It's proper that the way we gas our body in the morning can have an effective effect on our physical health, our electricity levels, and our mental mindset through the day. If we feed ourselves meals with little to no dietary value, we don't feel our best and can discover our energy stages peaking and crashing through the day and experience unregulation. A wholesome breakfast approves us to fuel our bodies right and can lead to greater regular electricity levels, as well as feeling more alert and focused. Key things to remember: don't permit yourself to make impulsive decisions about food. Take time to format and prep a wholesome breakfast. Healthy foods to include consist of protein, fruit, and entire grains. Review your day. As you begin to close your morning schedule, it's pertinent to, at that time, take associate in nursing purposefulness, see at your day. Tying into your day with expectation approves you to preserve, manipulate over your sketch rather than your sketch dominate you. Be real with yourself on the importance of bound assignments and confine with your mind that not the full heap is a beat would like. As tons thanks to the actual fact, it should conjointly feel that means, honestly, the reality is we will not work. That means accepting obtaining inundated. As potency coach and industrial enterprise visionary for Refsland proposes, it's pertinent to center on one factor at a time. Be it deliberateness in deciding wherever your vitality and endeavors need to go, total that, and then expire to another. Making an attempt to juggle exclusive errands will result in incapable time administration, more potency, and burnout. Key things to remember: be correct with yourself as you see it your day. Bear in mind that not the whole thing is a beat priority. Specialize in one component at a time. Tips for beginning: be flexible. Let go of any desires to create the culminate schedule and perform it superbly each morning. You're not seeking out for flawlessness at all in this unused propensity, fair deliberateness, vitality being put towards making a morning schedule that works best for you. Being adaptable implies simply you can permit yourself to adjust and adjust, finding what works well and being willing to let go of what doesn't work well. Remember that you just are creating a morning schedule to live more beneficially and gently, not so you'll be able to live with indeed more stress. Be consistent. The most useful habits are those that we will interrupt with systematically. If the thought of a morning routine is new, don't worry. Active consistency can facilitate your events, sense additional and a lot of flavored over time. As you become an expert and see the amazing influence that an appropriate morning activity has on your day, you may realize it, motivating to continue operating towards this habit. It'll expertise less like some issues you ought to do, and find yourself one thing you appear to be ahead of doing. If you ignore daily, bounce correct lower back Thurito successive. Once more, this is often not concerning playing cleanly, but about you giving yourself the chance to measure your best. Take charge of technology. In spite of a few of our best endeavors to not let innovation take over, we regularly discover it getting within the way or being unavoidable. In creating your morning schedule, do not center on giving up innovation because, let's be honest, that will not work. You'll likely utilize your phone as your alarm. What you're looking to do instead is take back specialist over your innovation. As time goes by, administration coach Craig Jarrow recommends permitting the innovation to work for you and utilize it in like manner. You choose how your gadgets or innovation in common will play a part in your morning routine. If you discover yourself letting careless screen time attack the morning schedule, permit yourself to put those boundaries back in place so one can merely refocus on the reason of creating a solid morning schedule. Night plan. Although we have a tendency to square measure, talking nearly making an excellent morning schedule, it will be accommodating to start this handle the night your time recently. On the off probability that they're square measure things you'll set in place to make your morning less exacting, move and do this your time recently bed. Simple thoughts appear incorporate birthing out your dress for another day, prepping the nourishment you'll have for breakfast, or pressing your lunch sooner than time. Your morning self can thank you. How to start meditation. Attempt to put aside at slightest 5 to 10 minutes to take a seat in contemplation, ceaselessly increasing the term as you over up more well off at the side of your observe. Start up sitting or lying down in a very snug position. Shut your eyes and begin your reflection with a respiratory exercise. Next, primarily note your issues, allowing any thoughts to return to your mind. Keep a non-judgmental perspective as you let yourself keep inside this at the side of your internal voice. Once your reflection feels total, take several profound breaths and open your eyes. Mindfulness reflection may sound basic, sufficient, but indeed, schedule meditators discover it troublesome from time to time. In truth, numerous individuals encounter increased uneasiness when they begin to sit down and ponder. Inspiration and want may too wind down from day to day, so attempt to be quiet with yourself and your contemplation practice. If you adhere, along with your reflection hone, you may learn to sit with awkward thoughts. Only through standard hone will mindfulness reflection get to be less challenging and assist you to lower uneasiness and bring you a sense of inward peace. Beyond creating the commitments to every day-by-day hone, learning the way to sit once thinking is that the primary step in learning the way to meditate. Provide the reflection steps and essential talents set out beneath a try for 1 week. Take into account a 1-week reflection check. Create a commitment to require when these basic steps on a daily basis of the week. What you'll do. Sitting is the most excellent position for beginning meditation. On the off chance that you lie down particularly within the starting, you chance losing mindfulness and falling asleep. Sitting in a caution position keeps you wakeful and centered, but liberates your intellect from having to handle information, like where to put your feet while you're sitting. You may hone centering on something. It may well be a word or picture or your breath. How it works. Contemplation is almost making the intellect still, whereas keeping the body wakeful but loose. In a range for mental stillness to happen, you must begin with making your body still. To do so, you should merely sit. Whereas you're sitting, your intellect will need to meander all over, from your to-do records to your stresses, or occasion to where you want to go on vacation. To offer assistance, make the intellect still, you'll center on a single thing. This gives your intellect something to do, but does not create unused considerations. Like a cat jerking its tail, rehashing a word, or counting your breaths makes a difference. You discharge mental vitality that would something else be utilized to form unused contemplations. Get motivated for week 1. Meditation isn't around making your brain stop thinking. That's inconceivable. Your brain doesn't halt producing thought even when you're snoozing. Contemplation is truly around not sustaining the contemplation that comes. By creating your ability of letting go of contemplations, sentiments, and concepts that suddenly happen, you'll be able to involve the calming benefits of reflection, which incorporate unwinding push, diminished more precise points of view on your issues, upgraded inventiveness, and expanded vitality. But it all begins with learning how to sit for reflection. The steps: plan, sit, and focus. Plan. You're progressing to plan 5 minutes each day this week to simply sit and center. To construct a feasible schedule, these 5 diminutive ought to be the same time each day. Make beyond any doubt that you will just not be hindered by anything amid this time. For example, no phones and no thumps on the door. Sit. Learning the way to sit, whereas thoughtful, is one in all the first challenges for many trio meditators. To sit well in associate degree alarm position. You may sit in a chair with feet level on the ground, or on a pad placed on the ground with legs crossed. It doesn't matter. Stay awaken, tall, alongside your back as straight as conceivable, moving your shoulders down, and back broadening your chest. Keep your head level, and see somewhat descending. Opt for one spot on the divider, and stare at it. Your intention is because it were to take a seat and be still, so not wanting round the area. To help dodge diversion, you may want to close your eyes. Keep your hands anywhere that area unit still and comfortable. They'll be in your lap, or with the palms confront up or down on your knees or thighs. Focus. Select one of the taking after to center on. Pick a word that has a few meanings to you, like peace, quiet, or calm. Rehash that word or brief mantra delicately out loud or in your intellect as you sit. Count your breaths. Each time you breathe out, number to 4. At that point, number to 4 against your breathe in. This will bring your consideration to your breath, whereas to empowering, more profound, controlled breathing. Your reflection commitment this week: I will sit and center for at least 5 minutes each day this week. Tips to assist you along the way. If you're rehashing a word or tallying and lose track, don't stress. Fair, go back to what you're doing. You'll be able to anticipate to lose track some of the time amid reflection. It's typical. What things is that you just do not stay on it, but instead return your focus. Pick a time of day after you can effortlessly keep in mind to ponder, like right after you get dressed for the day, or right after you eat breakfast. In the event that you've got inconvenience finding a time or put to think, consider meditating in your car, whereas stopped, you'll ponder some time recently, beginning your car within the morning or once you arrive at the stopping part at work. In your car, you're ensured time to yourself and flexibility from most interruptions. Focus on your pose. Attempt to sit up straight through the entire contemplation session. It might be troublesome at first, as you construct the muscle strength. Utilize a clock. A clock, ideally one with a delicate alarm, can offer assistance, avoid you from pondering how long you've got to be thinking. Set the clock and disregard it approximately. Don't stress approximately contemplation possesses hand positions or anything else you'll have examined or seen almost reflection. You'll explore more positions after you've got set up a propensity of day-by-day meditation. Keep in intellect that the foremost imperative thing is sitting and centering each day. You are building a reflection propensity. Don't stress approximately not doing it right or whether or not it's working. Fair sit and center. The rest will come with time and hone. Prepared for more meditation? In the event that you're feeling yearning, include a moment hone session to your day. A session within the morning and one at the conclusion of the day can be exceptionally curiously. Take note how your intellect carries on differently at distinctive times of day. Maybe within the morning it's less demanding to sit calmly, or maybe you're revved up and considering approximately the day ahead. By testing at distinctive times of the day, you'll be reinforcing your contemplation propensity. Practice mindfulness meditation. Whether you're considering around family life, work, school, what you're reaching to make for supper, what you said at last night's party, or all of the other, it's simple to urge caught in a design of whirling considerations. In some cases, we ruminate on past events, even to the degree that it leads to anxiety, or we center on the could-be circumstances of the future. Mindfulness contemplation may be a mental preparing hone that can be accommodating in these circumstances. It brings you and your contemplations into the display, centering on feelings, contemplations, and sensations that you're encountering within the presently. Whereas it can be at first troublesome to calm your contemplations with time and hone, you'll be able involvement the benefits of mindfulness, reflection, counting less stress and uneasiness, and indeed eased conditions like IBS. Techniques can change, but in common mindfulness contemplation includes a breathing hone, mental symbolism, mindfulness of body and intellect, and muscle and body unwinding. Starting a mindfulness meditation practice. Learning mindfulness intervention is direct sufficient to hone on your claim, but an educator or program can assist you as you begin, especially in case you're practicing contemplation for particular well-being reasons. Whereas a few individuals ponder for longer sessions, indeed some minutes every day can make a distinction. Here's a fundamental strategy to assist you get started. 1. Find a calm and comfortable place. Sit in a chair or on the floor together with your head and neck back straight, but not stiff. It's also accommodating to wear comfortable clothing so you're not distracted. 2. Attempt to put aside all contemplations of the past and the longer term and center on the present. 3. End up mindful of your breath, attuning to the sensation of discus moving in and out of your body as you breathe. Feel your stomach rise and drop, and the disgust enter your nostrils and take off your mouth. Pay consideration to the way each breath changes and is distinctive. 4. Observe each thought come and go, whether it be a stress, fear, uneasiness, or trust. When contemplation comes up into your intellect, do not disregard or stifle them. Basically note them to stay calm and utilize your breathing as an anchor. 5. On the off chance that you discover yourself getting carried absent in your contemplation, watch where your intellect went off to without judgment, and fair return to your breathing. Keep in mind not to be difficult on yourself in the event that this happens. 6. As the time comes to an ear, sit for a minute or two, getting to be mindful of where you're getting up continuously. Joining mindfulness into your standard of living. Mindfulness intercession is one procedure, but regular exercises and errands give bounty of openings to hone. Here are tips about developing mindfulness in your day-to-day schedule. Washing the dishes. Have you at any purpose determined, however, no one is endeavouring to urge your thought, whereas you're doing the dishes, the mix of alone time and physical development causes tidying up when supper, an uncommon time to aim a bit care. Appreciate the sentiment of the nice and cosy water on your hands, the sea of the air pockets, the hints of the dish thumping on the foot of the sink. Washing the dishes to clean dishes, to not instigate them over, with thus you will be capable to go watch TV. After you award yourself over to the association, you get the psychological refreshment and an ideal room. Driving. It's simple to zone out, whereas you're driving, considering approximately what to have for supper, or what you overlooked to do at work that day. Utilize your powers of mindfulness to keep your consideration tied down to the interior of your car. Turn off the radio, or put on something alleviating, like classical music. Imagine your spine developing tall. Discover the halfway point between unwinding your hands and holding the wheel as well firmly, and at whatever point you take note your intellect meandering. Bring your consideration back to where you and your car are in space. Exercising. Watching TV, though exercising on the treadmill, could make your training go speedier. Anyway, it won't do wealthy to quiet your acumen. Flex your bodily and mental muscular tissues through killing all displays and fixating on your breath and any place your fit area unit in-house as you progress. Preparing for bedtime. Instead of speeding via your nighttime events and scuffling with your children over bedtime, try to experience the experience. Get down to the equal degree as your kids appear in their eyes, pay attention more than you talk, and enjoy any snuggles. When you relax, they will too. Path of life can get in the way. Maybe your little one calls for assistance while you're washing the dishes, or a complex site visitor's scenario ability. You have to be even extra centered on the road. But taking benefit of daily possibilities when they're on hand to you can help construct a greater steady mindfulness practice. Even if you're not settling into a seated function for 30 minutes every day, simply a few minutes of being current can reap huge benefits. 5 mindfulness reflection methods for stress relief. There are a bounty of mindfulness contemplation strategies that can be compelling for push alleviation and unwinding from conventional strategies, settling into a situated position and clearing your intellect to the sorts that do not fundamentally see like reflection, such as brushing your teeth or doing the dishes. Truly any movement where you remain completely show and totally non-judgmentally established within the present can tally as mindfulness contemplation, and when practiced frequently can bring the benefits of mindfulness into your life. Whether you're modern to mindfulness meditation and require tips to urge, begin, or you're an experienced specialist looking for modern techniques, we've rounded up 5 approaches to mindfulness reflection you'll be able to attempt. They all offer illustrations of how it's conceivable to utilize anything you've got in your environment as an instrument to assist consistent your intellect and ease stress. Sounds. Whereas varied people settle for that a peaceful atmosphere is imperative for a fruitful contemplation session, you may feel it's a lot of valuable to center on the sounds in your atmosphere. It should preferably be a pendulum clicking or the washer spinning. Something it'd zero in on the tone and quality of the sound with deliberate. Music will furthermore be a valuable center in attentiveness meditation, with further edges like energizing you among the morning or moving you at midnight. Tuning into music is a speedy course to obtaining yourself into distant better, abundant better, a higher, a stronger, an improved, a stronger disposition. However, it's planning to be more and more clear that there is far more to the advantages of music than honest a fast boost for your viewpoint. Investigation has appeared that music encompasses a big impact on your body and mind. In truth, there's a developing field of attention referred to as music medical care that employs music to heal. Those that hone music treatment are finding an advantage in utilizing music to help cancer patients' kids with Embrace and others, so clinics are beginning to utilize music and music treatment to help with torment administration, to help beat back disappointment, to advance development, to calm patients, to ease muscle pressure, and for varied alternative edges that music and music treatment will bring. Sometimes, not astounding as music influences the body and intellect in various effective ways in which. Helpful impacts of music. The taking after are a few of the results of music which offer assistance to clarify the viability of music treatment. Brainwaves. Inquire About has appeared that music with a solid beat can fortify brainwaves to resound in match up with the beat with speedier beats, bringing more honed concentration and more alarm, considering advancing a calm, reflective state. Also, investigation has found that the alter in brainwave action levels that music can bring can moreover empower the brain to move speeds more effectively on its possess, as required, which implies that music can bring enduring benefits to your state of intellect, indeed, after you've halted tuning in. Breathing and heart rate. With changes in brainwaves comes changes in alternative substantial capacities. Those drawn by the involuntary anxious framework like respiration and vital sign will too be changed by the changes music will bring. This might cruel, slower respiration, slower vital sign, associate degreed, an enactment of the unreeling reaction among alternative things. Music and music treatment offers help check or avoid the harming impacts of incessant stretch, considerably advancing, not because it were unreeling, however well-being. How relaxation response happens. Amid the unwinding reaction, the body moves from a state of psychological excitement, counting, expanded heart rate, and blood weight, moderated stomach-related, working expanded bloodstream, to the limits expanded discharge of hormones like adrenaline and cortisol, and other reactions planning the body to battle or run to a state of psychological unwinding, where blood weight, heart rate, stomach-related working, and hormonal levels return to their typical state. During intense stress, this reaction happens actually. This worked well for us in our old history, when the push reaction was activated to some degree, once in a while, and frequently implied fast-moving psychological dangers, like predators. In any case, in advanced times, as the push reaction is frequently activated numerous times all throughout the day, the unwinding reaction doesn't continuously have a chance to actually take after. State of mind. Music can moreover be utilized to bring a more positive state of intellect, making a difference to keep discouragement and uneasiness at cove. The elevating sound of music and the positive or cathartic messages that can be passed on with the verses can all be causes to a modern mental state as well. This can offer assistance, anticipate the stress reaction from wreaking ruin on the body, and can offer assistance, keep intentiveness and good faith levels higher, bringing numerous other benefits. Benefits of optimism. Superior health. Harvard School understudies people who were positive thinkers at age 25 were altogether additionally advantageous at ages 45 and 60 than people who were worrywarts. A distrustful, informative fashion with higher rates of irresistible malady necessitous well-being and previous morality. Greater achievement. Selectmen analysed sports group and found that the more helpful groups made more positive cooperative energy and performed way better than the critical ones. Another ponder appeared that cynical swimmers who were driven to accept they done more awful than they had were inclined to future destitute execution. Hopeful swimmers didn't have this powerlessness. Inquiry about like this has driven a few companies to go out of their way to contract optimists, a hone that appears to be paying off. Emotional health. In a mull-over of clinically discouraged patients, it absolutely was found that 12 weeks of psychological feature treatment, which has reframing a person's thought forms, worked superior than medicine, as changes were a lot of lasting than a short settle. Patients' UN agency had this making ready in honestly had the capacity to a lot of viably handle future difficulties. Less stress. Self-assured people likewise will in general experience less worry than doubters or pragmatists. Since they put stock in themselves and their capacities, they anticipate that beneficial things should occur. They consider negative to be as minor misfortunes to be effectively survived, and see positive occasions as proof of further beneficial what might be on the horizon. Trusting in themselves, they likewise go out on a limb and make increasingly positive occasions in their lives. Investigation appears that confident people are more proactive with stress administration, favoring approaches that decrease or kill song stress and their passionate result. Positive thinkers work harder at push administration so they're less stressed. Explanatory style explained. Logical style, attitudinal style, alludes to how individuals clarify the occasions of their lives. There are 3 aspects of how individuals can clarify a circumstance. This can impact whether they lean toward being hopeful people or worrywarts, stable versus precarious. Can time change things or accomplish things, remain the equivalent playing little minds to time worldwide versus nearby? Is a circumstance an impression of only one piece of your life, or your life all in all interior versus outer? Do you feel occasions are brought about by you or by an outside power? Pragmatists see things moderately plainly, yet the vast majority of us aren't pragmatists. The greater part of us, to some extent, trait the occasions in our lives hopefully or critically. The example resembles this. Optimist explanatory style. Consistent fashion or distributional fashion implies to how people clarify the events of their lives. There are 3 angles of how people can clarify a circumstance. This may affect whether they incline toward being confident individuals or stress warts, steady versus dubious. Can time alter things or finish things, stay the identical playing small minds to time around the world versus adjacent? May be a circumstance, an impression of as it were once a piece of your life, or your life all in all insides versus external. Do you feel events are brought on approximately by you or by an exterior control, Practical people see things decently, doubtlessly. However, the tremendous lion's share of us aren't down-to-earth individuals. The more noteworthy portion of us to a few degree characteristics the events in our lives ideally or basically. The cases takes after this. Pessimist explanatory style. Doubters think within the inverse way. They accept that negative occasions are caused by them inner. They accept that one botch implies more will come steady, and botches in other zones of life are unavoidable worldwide, since they are the cause. They see their positive occasions as flukes, neighborhood that are caused by things exterior their control, outside, and likely won't happen once more, unstable or worrywart would see advancement as a fortunate occasion that likely won't happen once more, and may indeed stress that shall presently be beneath more examination. Being passed over for advancement would likely be clarified as not being talented sufficient. Shed in this manner, anticipate to be passed over once more. What this means. Justifiably, in case you aren't a positive thinker, this bodes well for your future. Negative occasions are more likely to roll off your back, but positive occasions can assert your conviction in yourself. Your capacity to form good things happen presently and within the future and within the goodness of life. Fortunately for doubters and realists, these designs of considering can be learned to a degree, though we tend to be mostly predisposed to our designs of considering. Employing a hone called cognitive rebuilding, you'll offer assistance yourself and others ended up more idealistic by deliberately challenging negative, self-limiting considering and supplanting it with more hopeful thought designs. Other benefits. Music has moreover been found to bring numerous other benefits, such as bringing down blood weight, which can too diminish the chance of stroke and other well-being issues over time, boost resistance, ease muscle pressure, and more. With so numerous benefits and such significant physical impacts, it's now astonished that so numerous are seeing music as a critical apparatus to assist the body in remaining or getting to be solid. Utilizing music all alone to improve health. Whereas music treatment is an imperative teach, you'll be able, moreover, to accomplish numerous benefits from music on your claim. You'll have, as of now, been doing this since you were a youngster, but it's a great thought to keep consolidating music into your way of life as you age through the life cycles as we presently know. Music can be utilized in existence for unwinding, to pick up vitality when feeling depleted, for catharsis when managing with passionate push, and in other ways as well. Most of us know from involvement that music can break down the stretch of a log drive, keep us persuaded to work out, and take us right back to positive encounters in our past, which can be a bliss booster and a stress reliever. Sensations. Paying targeted non-judgmental thoughts to physical sensations in your body, each from the inside and out, like your irritated hands, or the sensation of your inhalation as a result of it clears out your nostrils, can bring you into the present and cause a deep, pensive expertise. In spite of the actual fact that you'll be in a position, follow a sensation-based strategy. From anywhere, one accepted approach can be a shower reflection. Relieve stress with bathtub meditation. Meditation could be a capable stress reliever and a propensity that can lead to strength to push and expanded internal peace. Whereas this might not come as a shock in the event that you're like most individuals, you're aware that reflection can be supportive, but you've got inconvenience making it day-by-day habit. Life gets within the way. Typically affirm to a degree. Practicing reflection, one can be accommodating. In any case, to pick up the complete advantage of reflection in terms of making versatility and an enduring sense of peace, it ought to be practiced regularly. There are many different ways to involve the benefits of reflection, and having more choices at your transfer can cruel that the hone is less demanding to preserve on a customary premise. One relieving strategy is to contemplate within the shower. Tips and steps for performing a bathtub meditation. A shower meditation joins the standard advantages of contemplation with the advantages of an unwinding hot shower, which can alleviate tired muscles, give a quieting climate, and permit a brief sentiment of getaway from stressors. This is a propensity that is anything but difficult to rehearse on a daily premise. How would you make a shower reflection successful? Here are a few things to remember. Make time. Close off in any event 15 minutes where you won't be intruded. That implies making a couple of additional minutes in your calendar, putting the telephone directly to phone message, advising others in your family unit not to upset you, except if it's a crisis. Whatever you have to do to define individual limits and close off the time, it ought to merit the exertion. Use aromatherapy bath products. As you run the shower, you'll need to join a few of the benefits of fragrance-based treatment by utilizing bubble bath or shower oils scented with lavender, appeared to be unwinding peppermint in the event that you need to feel more alert, or another fragrance that you just truly like ponders. Appear that subjectively pleasing fragrances bring push alleviation benefits as well. This way, you'll be able to include another layer of stress alleviation with no extra exertion. Based treatment will really have an effect on brain weights and might modification behavior. Not all cent square measure created reach with, nor do they influence human physiology and behavior inside constant ways that rosemary, lavender, and therefore the different scent recorded beneath square measures the foremost accepted fragrance, primarily based on treatment fragrances used for push relief. Inside every description, see it their effects and suggestions on the way to produce the foremost of them. Therefore, you'll be ready to coordinate the proper fragrance alongside your scent, primarily based treatment desires. Get in and relax. Let your breathing become slower and more profound, permitting you to paunch to rise and drop with each breath, rather than your shoulders or chest. This sort of breathing is more characteristic and can offer assistance, turn off your stress reaction in case it was still triggered from prior within the day. Focus on sensations. Presently, truthful center on the sensations you're feeling in your body, the heat of the water on your skin, the burden of the bathtub against your back, and giving up of all alternative thoughts. Attempts to keep your intellect calm and your thoughts targeted on because it were the show minute. Stay in the present. In case you discover contemplations of the past long run or any frame of inner discourse happening tenderly, divert your consideration to the display minute. Proceed for a few minutes and you ought to feel alleviated and loose rapidly. Tips. In case you're modern to contemplation, you'll need to undertake the reflection portion of it for 5 or 10 minutes at first and work your way up. Time went through within the tub, in contemplation or not, should still be relaxing enough. If you find it troublesome to keep your mind completely clear, you will need to undertake a mantra contemplation. This is often a frame of reflection where you center on rehearsing a sound or state over and over. It can be a pleasant elective for those who become frustrated by a mental voice that needs to keep talking. You can moreover include music as a central point for your contemplation with the melodic shower reflection. This will increment your unwinding as music brings its possesses benefits for stress administration. Thoughts. On the off chance that you're unused to contemplation, one of the most preventions is the challenge of totally clearing your intellect. It's regularly troublesome to halt the consistent stream of consideration streaming in and out, and after you begin with sit down to ponder your contemplations, they get louder. Sometime recently, they get calm. That's why it's regularly best to label the considerations that come to your intellect instead of locking in with them. This practice can make it less demanding to let them go. For illustration, you'll be able to name a thought as valuable or not valuable, or categorize them, such as judgment or fear. Thought labeling as mindfulness meditation procedure may be an exceedingly viable stress alleviation method that carries numerous benefits. Mindfulness can be practiced for all intents and purposes any place at any time because it does not require quiet or an extraordinary contemplation region or physical position. It essentially requires a nearness of intellect. Mindfulness can be valuable in segregating from the consistent stream of consideration judgments, concerns, ruminations, and clutter of the intellect and getting to a put of inward peace. For inward peace may not come promptly, and mindfulness does take hone. Be that as it may, there's proof that even one session of reflection can be successful at diminishing push, and indeed a fair number of minutes of contemplation can make a contrast, so practicing mindfulness or any other contemplation strategy can be supportive for any length of time. Indeed, experienced contemplation specialists discover it to be more challenging, few days than others, but benefits come notwithstanding, so learning this method is well worth the little exertion it takes to practice. As you complete utilized to heedfulness and reflection, the strategy gets to be less complicated to slide into reflection mode. Inside the beginning, in any case, you ought to attempt with various heedfulness strategies and various styles of meditation. The taking when methodology empowers you to look at your issues and dropping of them, which may allow you to create a couple of areas between yourself and therefore the issues that trigger the stress reaction. This procedure permits you to appear at your routine through styles, take a step back, and find a couple of viewpoints. It too primarily breaks the cycle of rumination. And it's easier than a couple of shapes of contemplation, therefore it's unbelievable for apprenticeships. Let's begin. Get comfortable. In a perfect world, it would be awesome to have a calm, distraction-free, but a comfortable chair and some minutes set aside to center on this exercise. With practice or in a pinch, you'll be able to hone this any time you've got a few free time alone together with your considerations, like after you're at work doing ordinary assignments or getting prepared for rest. Anything your circumstance, make yourself as comfortable as you can. Clear your mind. Take note of your contemplations. Inside minutes, or indeed seconds, you may take note contemplations floating into your mind. In cold, I have to be making supper today. I ponder what he implied when Joe said that thing prior. The contemplations will crawl within. The thought is to basically watch them and abstain from locks-in. Basically take note of them and let them go. Label your thoughts. Whereas basically watching your considerations and letting them go is a successful reflection procedure and can be practiced for long periods of time, it can be accommodating to require things a step advance and label your considerations sometime recently you let them go. You'll do this by saying the word to yourself, visualizing it composed, or anything feels comfortable to you. Labeling your contemplation does two things. It raises your mindfulness of the sorts of things you think, almost which is particularly accommodating, on the off chance that you're attempting to alter your routine, thought designs, to gotten to be more enabling and idealistic. It too permits your intellect to lock in to some degree, which can be accommodating for fledglings who are not utilized to basically watching their contemplations for long periods of time. It gives your intellect something to do, whereas still keeping up separation. There are a few distinctive ways merely can name your contemplations. Valuable/not useful. You can basically name whether an idea is helpful or not. This is a straightforward differentiation that can cover, for all intents and purposes, all contemplations. Simply mark them helpful or not, valuable, and let them go. Kinds of thoughts. You can name your considerations with more prominent profundity by ordering them as indicated by their capacity. Contemplations that can be marked as judgment, arranging dread, and recalling, for instance, may float into your mindfulness. Mark them and let them go. Physical sensations. Another sort of mindfulness that may float in is body mindfulness. You may notice and concentrate on what you see or feel. Basically, mark things what they are as sensations, hard, warm, bothersome, acknowledge them and let them go. There are different manners by which you can name your contemplations, yet this furnishes you with a beginning spot. As you practice, you may discover strategies that work better. One of the above procedures may turn into a top choice, or you can pivot. Whatever works for you is the right way. Simply recollect that standard reflection fabricates versatility towards stress, so it merits attempting and staying with until you discover a style that works for you. Begin and see what advantages this training brings. Breathing. Breathing is one in all the few constants in life with a characteristic pattern, breathe in, breathe out, that makes it a profitable instrument in reflection. The outstandingly act of being cognizant of one's claimed breath will cause significant satisfying respiratory from your gut's might, which might progress physical and over the top, moving as separate to the transitory covered breath from your chest that you simply that you essentially may feel in the midst of a jumpy scene. Your breathing can contribute to your anxiety and panic. A great many of us are square measuring, typically attentive to the style during which their respiration, but by and huge their square measures two types of respiration examples. Pectoral chest reposeful, diaphragmatic abdomen reposeful. At the purpose, once people are nervy, they're going to normally take fast, shallow breaths that return lawfully from the chest. This sort of respiration is termed pectoral or chest reposeful. At the purpose, once you're feeling nervy, you'll not understand your respiration on these lines. Chest respiration causes esteemed within the O and greenhouse emission levels within the body, conveyance regarding distended pulse unsteadiness, muscle strain, and alternative physical sensations. Your blood isn't by and huge befittingly aerated, and this could flag a pressure reaction that adds to tension and fits of hysteria. Taste. When pushed, individuals frequently impulses utilize their sense of taste as a stress reliever, whether they're chomping thoughtlessly or fulfilling desires brought on by cortisol. But the sense of taste can be a solid, compelling complement to mindfulness works out. You'll be able to utilize your taste buds to be submerged within the display minute of what you're eating, like in a chocolate reflection. Centering on taste can be an agreeable basic way to investigate mindfulness and unwinding, but moreover, a viable way to eat a solid in general. On the off chance that you're inclined to gorging, mindfulness can instruct you to savor each nibble until you're comfortably satisfied. Chocolate meditation. The chocolate meditation is one of the foremost pleasurable delights of care thought out there, and it's an invaluable one as well. It's direct sufficient for novices, however effective sufficient to interest those accomplished in reflection and trying to find a few combination. The chocolate consideration, moreover, brings undefined focal points of reflection from distinctive structures, yet is possibly easier to center on the grounds that it encompasses a worked-in compensation well past the common prizes of thought, chocolate. At long final, in case you're as of presently a lover of chocolate and endeavoring to kill how a parcel of chocolate you eat, you'll utilize this as a sort of cautious eating to empower yourself to eat less and push less another time you end up giving a charge out of a parcel of your most cherished chocolate treats. Anything your motivations, the chocolate reflection is an unimaginable one to memorize. Here's the way to do it. How to meditate with chocolate. Get a small piece of chocolate. Believe it or not, for the chocolate meditation, you would as obviously a touch of chocolate. We endorse a less bit of dull chocolate with a sweeping cocoa substance. However, you'll use a chocolate kiss, a humble bundle of semi-sweet chips, or anything you have available. It requires not to be an enormous bit of chocolate either. Truly reduced down, or a little greater is ideal. Relax your body. Take a couple of full breaths and work on unstraining your muscles to loosen up your body. You need to begin your chocolate contemplation as physically loose as could be expected under the circumstances. Close your eyes in the event that you feel great with it. Smell, look, and snack. After you smell the chocolate and appreciate the fragrance, after you take a gander at the chocolate and truly take in how delectable it looks, you can at last take a little chomp of your chocolate. Give it a chance to sit on your tongue and soften in your mouth. Notice the flavors from the chocolate ending up totally consumed in what you're encountering at this moment. Proceed with your profound breathing and focus on the sensations in your mouth. Concentrate on the sensations. As you swallow, center around how it feels going down. Notice how your mouth feels vacant. At that point, as you take a subsequent chomp, attempt to try to notice how your arm feels as you raise the chocolate to your mouth, how it feels between your fingers, and after that, in your mouth. Once more, center on the sensations you're feeling right now. Recenter around the present. On the off chance that different considerations come into your psyche during your chocolate reflection, tenderly refocus your thoughtfulness regarding the flavors and sensations related with the chocolate. The thought is to remain right now as much as you can. Appreciate the inclination consistently and feel progressively loose. You may proceed with your reflection after the chocolate is gone, or essentially continue your day quickly and subsequently. Tips for meditating with chocolate. You don't have to expend a huge amount of chocolate amid this workout. In fact, if you're doing it carefully, you won't have to be expended much at all. If you're gouty to chocolate or have issues with sugar, you'll be able to attempt a comparative sort of reflection with raisins or other savourable nourishments you're able to securely eat. If you think each day you'll discover enduring benefits and maybe indeed a more prominent flexibility toward push. Reduce stress with breathing exercises meditation. Breathing works out offer an amazingly basic, successful, and helpful way to soothe stress and turn around your push reaction, diminishing the negative impacts of persistent stress. There are positive benefits of breathing workouts. Whereas straightforward diaphragmatic breathing can give unwinding and push help, there are a few distinctive sorts of breathing works out to undertake, each with its possessive bend. Here are a few breathing workouts, a few of which are commonly suggested, a few of which are special, and all of which can each offer help in managing stress. Typically, a straightforward workout that, as it were, takes a couple of minutes. Here's how. Mindful diaphragmatic breathing. Get into a cushy position and close your eyes and start to note your breath. Or while recently you begin to switch it, pay thoughts to the pace and profundity. area unit you taking profound breaths or shallow ones, area unit you respiration chop chop, or bit by bit, reaching to be aware of your respiration will assist you to gotten to be a lot of careful of your body's reaction to fret, and may assist you to require note once you've got to be by design unwind your respiration. Counted breathing. Tallying your breaths are often helpful every for pacing and as a kind of contemplation. This method assists with pacing. It empowers you to elongate your inhalation and unwind your breathing out, and unwind your breaths out. There are region units, some of techniques to attempt and do this. As you breathe, located your tongue on the absolute best of your mouth, immediately behind your tooth at that time, inhale through your nostril and step by way of step. Take a look down from 5 on the respire. Let the air escape through your mouth and tally replica to 8. At that time, rehash. This encourages you to absolutely discharge your lungs and unwind each inhalation. A spread of this can be referred to as 4-7-8 respiratory and is typically endorsed by way of upbeat master Dr. St. Andrew the Apostle Whale. With this alternative, use aspire for a test of 4 relaxation for a tally of 7 and respire for a tally of 8. This permits you to stop among breaths and definitely average things down. Visualization breathing. Inflating the balloon. Get into a cushy position near your eyes and start respiratory in through your nose and out through your mouth. As you inhale, envision that your guts are blowing up with disgust like a swell. As you breathe out, envision that the disgust is getting away the swell gradually. Hold in mind you're doing now not required to pressure the air out, it essentially get away on its possess in its personal time. You'll need to assume the swell as your preferred color, or basically a drifting greater inside the sky, with each breath, in the match that this is often unwinding for you. Notwithstanding, the expanding swell visualization can aid you to breathe profoundly from your stomach, rather of locks, in shallow breathing that can come from push. Visualization of breathing, releasing your stress. Get into a comfortable position near your eyes and begin diaphragmatic breathing. As you breathe in, envision that all the push in your body is coming from your limits and into your chest. At that point, as you breathe out, envision that the stress is taking off your body through your breath and disseminating right before you. Gradually, purposefully rehash the method. After a few breaths, you ought to feel your push start to die down. Deep cleansing breath. Some of the time, all you desire to discharge push from your shoulders back or the relaxation of your psyche could be a few massive cleansing breaths. Breathe in and profoundly via your nose and take in as good deal disgust as effortlessly as you can. At that factor, discharge it and truly center on purging your lungs. Several folks keep disgust in their lungs after an exhale, so purging your lungs on a profound breathe out can aid you to result in more new oxygen in them. Rehash this respiration workout for a number of breaths and discharge the strain in your shoulders and any place else it tends to dwell. Alternate nostril breathing. This inhalation workout variety has been practiced for heaps of a long time as a frame of reflective inhalation. As you inhale, input your finger over your proper nostril and, as it were, breathe via your cleared out one. On the breathe out, change nostrils as it has been inhalation via your right. You'll be capable to breathe at something pace is blissful for you, either a 5 to 8%, a 4-7-8 proportion, or whatever tempo feels most unwinding for you. See tailed respiratory over. Body scan meditation. When you're feeling stressed, it's common to hold stress in your body within the form of irritating shoulders and abdomen in knots through shallow respiration or in several ways. Once folks raise stress in their bodies, they're frequently not even awake to it. Once we tend to honestly stressed, we are also feeling physical soreness, but not to be part of it with our emotions. A body scan meditation could be an exercise which will dispensed daily, or maybe many instances daily, and may assist you learn to become conscious of what you're feeling and wherever you're feeling it, and learn to unharness the strain in your body and mind. The body scan meditation is effective in relieving stress, not solely thanks to the very fact of the mind-clearing aspects existing all told styles of meditation, however due to the bodily issue further. Analysis shows that there square measure physical and psychological benefits to pleasurable the body and relieving tension. Relieving physical tension, for instance, has been shown to steer to a minimize in psychological stress, even once no psychologically based stress remedy efforts square measure created. Tension mitigated within the body will result in lower stress tiers and reduce reactivity to future stress, which might successively result in less physical tension as a result of stress. During this manner, this meditation works to spoil the cycle of bodily and psychological anxiety, which will prey on itself. Due to this, the Psyche Scan meditation could be a terribly helpful and fantastic meditation, which will assist you to still be comfy mentally and physically and come to a glad nation once you grow to be too tense. You'll attempt a body scan meditation correct now. Here is however. Get comfortable. Sit down in a cozy position and definitely unwind your body. You don't longer ought to be lying down, but it makes a difference, mainly in case you're doing a body check reflection, sometime currently you fall asleep. Attempt to result into a role that is cozy, adequate for you to totally unwind barring. Getting to be so cozy in basic terms can also fall asleep on the off thread that you're no longer able to relax or relaxation at the minute. Let your respiration reasonable down and start breathing from your belly as a substitute, then from your lower chest, letting your midriff extend and contract with each breath. On the off threat that you find out your shoulders rising and falling with each breath, call extra on breathing from your paunch, as in spite of the fact that a swell is expanding and collapsing in your midriff with each breath. For extra hone, try this respiratory workout. Notice where tension lies. Beginning together with your head, bring your mindfulness to your body and take note of any pressure you're feeling as you hone your body check reflection. Are you feeling a sense of snugness in your shoulders, back, neck, or any place else? What almost sensations of torment, either sharp or gloomy or unpretentious? Have you got a feeling of concentrated energy around a certain region? Sit with it for a minute and take note what you feel in your body. You'll want to begin at the beat of your head and methodically center on each zone of your body on your way down: scalp, ears, cheek, neck, shoulders, chest, solar plexus, etc. And truly take note of what sensations you've got in each region. This gets to be simpler and more programmed with hone, to the point where you'll be able to do this with exceptionally small exertion. Zero in on tense areas. In case you take note of any awkward sensations, center your consideration on them. Breathe into them and see what happens. Visualize the pressure taking off your body through your breath and dissipating into the discus. Numerous individuals take note that the feeling gets to be more seriously to begin with, and as they proceed their body check contemplation and keep their center, the feeling disseminates. Keep your mindfulness on that feeling for a small, whereas fair remaining display. Donate yourself a small need in that zone on the off chance that you need to. Move on once you feel prepared. Continue and breathe. After beginning along with your head, move down to your neck and past and rehash these body filter reflection steps. Take note in the event that there's any tightness, torment, or weight, and proceed the method. Breathe into the ranges you notice and remain with the emotions. Delicately knead your neck on the off chance that you want. Let the vitality unwind and your muscles become slacker. Scan your whole body. Continue this hone with each zone of your body, moving from head to toe. Take note of how you're feeling when you're holding your push and what sensations you're encountering as a result. Breathe, ponder, rub, and unwind. This could assist you discharge pressure in your body presently and be more mindful of it within the future, so you'll be able to discharge it at that point as well. Tips: hone this body filter contemplation anytime you're feeling stress or a few times throughout the day. If you don't have a parcel of time, you'll do a truncated form of this body filter contemplation by sitting and taking note any put in your body that you're carrying pressure instead of moving gather by bunch. This will have gotten simpler as you hone the body check meditation regularly. The body filter contemplation can advance body mindfulness, stress mindfulness, and unwinding. Hone it regularly. You'll be able, moreover, attempt dynamic muscle unwinding breathing workouts or visualization workouts for discharging push and pressure in your body. Walking meditation for stress release. Meditation is one among the huge pressure the board methods because of it contains numerous different focal points. It will encourage individuals everywhere produce mental and enthusiastic space among them and their stressors, allowing them to get perspective and discover their course before hooking the harsh conditions close by. It can even allow individuals everywhere to loosen up their brain and body to turn around their pressure reaction. Inside the all-inclusive term, the advantages region unit improved in light of the undeniable reality reflection exercise will bring about bigger versatility to future pressure. That said, bigger than various people have found the activity of reflection to be troublesome at first, and this winds up in certain people spurning on the pursuit before they sure begin with it on account of the established truth they discover it either difficult to fasten with it, outlandish for their bustling personality, or irksome to remain with. Strolling contemplation furnishes the advantages of reflection joined with the advantages of activity, and has the reward bit of leeway of being anything but difficult to check and pursue along these lines, making strolling reflection a mind-blowing approach for these not used to contemplation. In the event that the contemplation segment feels troublesome, you'll cross all through the use of it as a reflection strategy throughout a walk, working you far to remain in an extremely thoughtful country for broadened and longer interims of your time. Whichever way the strain organization advantages will return from a right walk. Here's any way going for strolls reflection works. How to do a walking meditation. Get into completely satisfied with apparel and footwear and put apart some continuous available time. You can set a clock on your watch on the off chance that you like. Start on foot at an agreeable pace. Honestly middle round the impressions that you feel in your body as you walk. Your stroll can be at any tempo as long as it feels good. Numerous men and women incline toward a moderate pace to genuinely admire each bodily sensation covered. However, a quick-paced stroll can wind up vivid also. There's no incorrect technique to do it. As you stroll, sense the heaviness of your body on the base of your feet. Feel your palms swinging with each walk. On the off chance that you discover contemplations coming into your intelligence tenderly, let them proceed to divert your concentration to the senses you're feeling as you walk. Continue to be targeted on now. You can likewise pay attention on your respiration as you walk. Try to take in for 2 degrees and out for a few, for instance. Listen on maintaining your respiratory and your skill facilitated. Or on the other hand, use mantra reflection techniques by using rehashing mantra in your ideas as you stroll in time with your capability for occasion each 4 stages. On the off chance that you suppose that it's hard to listen to your respiratory and grow to be somewhere out in dreamland, this is all right. Simply divert your consideration back to your respiration as you would with any contemplation. In the match that this feels baffling or checking out, you can work your way into reflection through tuning into tune-specific song, barring any verses. This can assist you with practicing concentrating on what's going on right now. Once more, if musings about work, money, that fighting you had toward the starting of these days, or exceptional stresses creep into your head, supply yourself a congratulatory gesture for seeing and tenderly divert your regard for now to your strolling reflection practice. It's best to do this for 30 minutes, a few times each week, but on the off chance that you have 10 minutes or even 5, that is highest quality to no education with the aid of any stretch of the imagination. Strolling reflection can be helpful, even in little dosages. Tips. Test. Attempt distinctive paces, distinctive mantras, distinctive styles of breathing, and see what works best for you. Commit more to the hone than to the sum of time you spend. For illustration, it's more imperative to center on doing your strolling reflection a certain number of times per week than a certain sum of minutes per time. Once it's a propensity, you'll be able to continuously work your way into longer sessions. You may moreover need to utilize music as a focal point. Take care not to urge sucked into considering almost the meaning of the verses, or in the fact you're now not thinking. Be that as it may, tuning into music and working out bring push administration benefits as well. How to practice loving kindness meditation. Adoring thoughtfulness reflection, LKM, may be a well-known self-care procedure that can be utilized to boost well-being and decrease push. Those who regularly hone loving kindness contemplation are able to extend their capacity for pardoning association to others, self-acceptance, and more. The procedure is simple to hone and can give a sense of calm in minutes. Benefits of loving kindness meditation. During adoring generosity contemplation, you sense a kind of cherishing vitality toward yourself as well as other people. You can hope to feel warm sentiments of consideration and empathy, notwithstanding picking up the well-recorded advantages of conventional contemplation. Developing examination explicitly on LKM is additionally helping social researchers to comprehend the novel advantages that it gives, albeit most investigation creators note that more research is required. For instance, an investigation distributed in the 2018 July/August issue of the Harvard Review of Psychology gave a diagram of logical proof identified with cherishing benevolence reflection, and other empathy-based intercessions. Study creators reasoned that LKM might be helpful in the treatment of ceaseless torment and marginal character issue, yet additional proof is expected to affirm these promising impacts. Some distributed investigations have noticed that this intercession system might be valuable in the administration of social uneasiness, conjugal clash outrage, and adapting to the strains of long-haul providing care. What's more, other research has recommended that cherishing graciousness contemplation can improve the initiation of mind territories that are engaged with enthusiastic preparing and compassion to support a feeling of energy and decrease pessimism. While more research is expected to affirm the full degree of LKM benefits, there are no dangers or expenses related with the training. So, in the event that you try this reflective practice out, you have nothing to lose, with the exception of a couple of calm minutes in your day. How to practice loving kindness meditation. There are various approaches to rehearse this type of contemplation, each dependent on various Buddhist customs, yet every variety utilizes a similar center mental activity. During your reflection, you can produce kind aims towards specific targets, including yourself as well as other people. Coming up next is a basic and successful cherishing thoughtfulness reflection procedure to attempt. Cut out some calm time for yourself, even a couple of minutes will work, and sit easily. Close your eyes and loosen up your muscles, and take a couple of breaths. Envision yourself encountering total physical and passionate well-being and inward harmony. Envision feeling ideal love for yourself, expressing gratitude towards yourself for all that you're realizing that you are perfect, similarly as you seem to be. Concentrate on this sentiment of inward harmony and envision that you're breathing out strain and taking in sentiments of affection. Rehash 3 or 4 positive consoling expressions to yourself. These messages are models, however, you can likewise make your own. May I be cheerful, may I be protected, may I be sound, quiet, and solid. May I give and get thankfulness today in sentiments of warmth and self-sympathy for a couple of minutes. In the event that your consideration floats delicately, divert it back to these sentiments of cherishing benevolence. Give these emotions a chance to encompass you. You can decide to either remain with this concentration for the length of your reflection, or start to move your concentration to friends and family in your life. Start with somebody who you are exceptionally near, for example, a companion, a kid, or a parent, or a closest companion. Feel your appreciation and love for them. Remain with that feeling. You might need to rehash the accompanying expressions, or comparative ones, that realize sentiments of adoring graciousness inside you. May you be upbeat, may you be protected, may you be sound, serene, and solid, may you give and get thankfulness today. When you've held these emotions towards that individual, bring other notable individuals from your life into your mindfulness, individually, and imagine them with immaculate health and inward harmony. At that point, branch out to different companions, relatives, neighbors, and associates. You may even need to incorporate gatherings of individuals around the globe. Stress out sentiments of adoring thoughtfulness to individuals around the world and spotlight on a sentiment of association and sympathy. You may even need to incorporate those with whom you're in strife to help arrive at a position of pardoning or more noteworthy harmony. At the point when you feel that your reflection is finished, open your eyes. Keep in mind that you can return to the magnificent emotions you produced for the duration of the day. Disguise how cherishing thoughtfulness contemplation feels, and come back to those sentiments by moving your concentration and taking a couple of full breaths. Tips for a more effective LKM practice. At the point when you initially start your cherishing thoughtfulness practice, use yourself as the sole subject during reflection. As you get increasingly okay with the symbolism and cherishing phrases, start to include the perception of others into your training. At long last, direct adoring graciousness reflection toward troublesome individuals throughout your life. This last arm of LKM supports sentiments of pardoning and encourages you to relinquish rumination for an expanded feeling of inward harmony. As you build up a customary routine with regards to contemplation, you might need to set a clock with a delicate alert in case you're worried about investing an excess of energy in core interest. Ultimately, recollect that this reflection can be polished from multiple points of view. The technique delineated above is an example of how you may start. You can concoct your very own cherishing benevolence reflection method that works best for you. For whatever length of time that you concentrate in a manner that advances sentiments of adoring graciousness, you can hope to pick up advantages from the training. Mantra meditation for stress relief. Mantra meditation is one of the best and easiest to learn contemplation strategies. Like other shapes of contemplation, it can change your push levels within the minute with a single session, or can alter the way you oversee push from now on with rehashed practice. And it has the advantage of being basic to memorize and customize to meet your particular needs for stress administration. Benefits of mantra meditation. If you're understanding this, you've presumably effectively heard that reflection is a powerhouse of a pressure reliever, as a result of the majority of manners in which it can improve your standpoint, and in general, well-being. Reflection has been connected to a decrease of incessant worry, just as reductions in pulse and circulatory strain in an expansion in invulnerable framework usefulness and numerous different advantages. Mantra reflection specifically has additionally been connected with a diminishing in meddling contemplations, an expansion in importance, and personal satisfaction in HIV patients. It has been connected to diminished pressure tension and outrage, and increments in personal satisfaction in medical caretakers. Another examination on veterans found that mantra contemplation diminishes the event of meddlesome musings and limits worry also. Numerous individuals find that mantra contemplation is less difficult to ace when they're beginning, since it gives an engaging point of convergence. Numerous individuals think that it's hard to continue diverting their musings to the present minute, and rather feel that it's simpler to have something progressively explicit to get a handle onto. The main concern is, with mantra reflection, you may feel less worried after one session. With rehashed practice, you may get yourself less responsive to future pressure. Rehearsing mantra reflection is simple. Here's the ticket. Set aside a few minutes and get into a comfortable position. To begin with, it's best to have a calm room free of diversions. With rehashed hone, you'll discover yourself able to hone mantra contemplation any place and beneath more chaotic circumstances. Choose a mantra for meditation. A mantra ought to be an expression or country, in fundamental terms, rehashed to yourself. It very well may be an extra-traditionally significant supernatural expression, essentially like the Hindu Aum, otherwise known as Om, or it tends to be an expression or state of quiet, or I am settled. The expressions or sounds you pick up don't appear to be basic, as long as they're clear and calm for you to rehash. Close your eyes and repeat the mantra to yourself. Benefits of mantra meditation. Mantra replaces thinking. At any given minute, our consideration can be staying on, as it were, one question. Indeed, when we say we're multitasking, what we're really doing is exchanging objects of consideration exceptionally rapidly, which is why multitasking is saddling and ineffective. For contemplation, the suggestion is beautiful basic. In each minute, simply are paying full consideration to the mantra. You're not disturbed by any other contemplations, recollections, or sensations. In case you're able to ceaselessly string together the finishing of one mantra reiteration to the starting of the following, you'll stay in that lovely state for the term of your reflection. The transformative power of sound. Sound patterns conjointly have an effect on the water in your body, your hormone secretion, cognition behavior, and psychological well-being. Looked at during this manner in your mind, your psyche is a group of patterns, every vibratory as its own peculiar frequency, speed, and volume. What the mystics and yogis of past discovered is that by sustaining a specific sound vibration for an extended time, the character of the mind and body may be somewhat remodeled. This can be a accustomed modification your emotional states, like overcoming anxiety, soothing pain, rising your moods, etc. Or it can even be accustomed to access deeper states of consciousness, management, the mind, and get in samadhi. Any musician or filmmaker can tell you the ability that sound needs to induce/evoke moods, thoughts, and emotions. If paying attention to the song will modify your mood and even facilitate and heal your body, imagine the ability of programming a selected sound into your mind by continuance, 1,000 times with care and attention. Tips. Try to hone mantra contemplation any place from a few times per week to twice a day. Numerous individuals discover it's most effortless to undertake for a fast session once a day, so it gets to be a customary propensity, but do not take intemperate sums of time. You can rehash the sound quietly in your head, on the off chance that you're more comfortable with that. A few individuals discover this to be simpler, and it makes them less self-conscious in the event that they live with others. You can too do mantra contemplation, whereas strolling to combine workout with contemplation. Fair utilize your mantra musically as you step. An overview of meditation. Meditation has ended up one of the foremost well-known ways to calm push among individuals of all strolls of life. This age-old hone, which can take numerous shapes and may or may not be combined with numerous otherworldly hones, can be utilized in a few critical ways. It can be a quick fix stress reliever to assist you invert your body push reaction and physically relax. It can be a portion of your day-by-day schedule and assist you construct strength to stress. It can be a strategy you utilize to urge centered when you're tossed off by a passionate push. A shape of contemplation can indeed be utilized for weight misfortunes and more advantageous eating. What does meditation involve? Meditation includes sitting in a loose position and clearing your intellect, or centering your intellect, on one thought and clearing it of all others. You'll center on a sound like Om, or on your claim breathing, checking a mantra, or nothing at all. A common string among the numerous contemplation methods is that the intellect stops taking after each modern thought that comes to the surface. It's for the most part fundamental to have at slightest 5 to 20 distraction-free minutes to spend, in spite of the fact that contemplation sessions can truly be any length. Longer reflection sessions tend to bring more prominent benefits, but it's more often than not best to begin gradually, so you'll be able to keep up the hone long term. Numerous individuals discover that in the case they attempt to contemplate for as well long each session or make an idealized hone, it can become to be threatening or overwhelming, and they discover it more challenging to keep as a daily habit. It's way better to make the propensity and work it into a more exhaustive form of the habit. It's accommodating to have quiet and protection, but more experienced meditators can hone contemplation any place. Numerous professionals of reflection join an otherworldly component to it, but it can to be a common workout. There's truly no off-base way to ponder. What can meditation do for stress management? All through the day when we involvement push our bodies naturally respond in ways that plan us to battle or run. This is often your body's push reaction, something else known as your fight or flight reaction. In a few cases of extraordinary threat, this physical reaction is supportive. Be that as it may, a drawn-out state of such tumult can cause physical harm to each portion of the body. Meditation influences the body in precisely the inverse ways that push does, by activating the body's unwinding reaction. It re-establishes the body to a calm state, making a difference. The body repairs itself and anticipating unused harm from the physical impacts of stress. It can calm your intellect and body by calming the stress-induced considerations that keeps your body's push reaction activated. There's a component of more coordinate physical unwinding included in reflection, as well clearly so this twofold measurement of unwinding can truly be accommodating for shrugging off stress. A few of this can be thought to be the result of the increment in positive temperament that can come from contemplation. Investigator appears that those who involvement positive temperaments more frequently are more flexible towards stress. Other inquire about has found charges within the brains of customary contemplation professionals that are connected with a diminished reactivity towards stress. The hone of learning to refocus your considerations can moreover assist you divert yourself after you drop into negative considering designs, which in itself can offer assistance, soothe, push. Meditation offers a few arrangements in one straightforward action. How does meditation compare to other stress reduction methods? Not at all like a few solutions and homegrown treatments, meditation has few potential side effects. People with physical restrictions may discover it simpler to hone a strenuous physical workout for stress alleviation. Furthermore, no extraordinary gear is required. Unlike enrolling, the assistance of a proficient contemplation is free. It does take discipline and commitment to create contemplation a regular propensity. A few individuals discover it more troublesome to preserve as a propensity than strategies that enlist the assistance of somebody or something exterior themselves for included inspiration. On the off chance that you're one of these individuals, finding a contemplation bunch may be the idealized solution. Some individuals may discover it more troublesome to free their minds from the contemplations of the day. This may make it more troublesome than strategies that include centering on these occasions like journaling, or strategies that are diverting like physical workout or the utilization of humor. The pros and cons of meditation. Meditation is brilliant in that it's free, continuously accessible, and incredibly successful in short-term push, listening, and long-term well-being. The benefits can be felt in fair one session. An experienced educator can be supportive, but isn't completely vital. You'll be able to learn numerous successful contemplation strategies from a book or from the reflection assets right here on Very Well. Eventually, in case, you'll be able to center on your breath, on the show minute, or on any one thing, for a whereas you'll now meditate. It does frequently take a few hone, be that as it may, and a few individuals discover it troublesome to induce it within the starting. Meditation moreover requires a small persistence and may be difficult for individuals with small free time, like a few stay-at-home mums who get exceptionally small security from little children. Be that as it may, the time and exertion it takes to memorize and hone is well worth it in terms of the benefit it gives. Chapter 3. Depression is one among the various examples recognized mental maladies on the planet. It's surveyed that there are 350 million individuals, normal UN agency, have some reasonably depression. In US, 16 million individuals had a troublesome scene within the past year. A circumstance moving one's aura and movement ill-being will have an effect on one's way that of life munificently. As incontestable by technique for the fashionable World Health Organization, demoralization is that the important wellspring of inadequacy universal and is regular to be a colossal supporter of the final overall load of contamination. The Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorder, 5th edition, has characterized wretchedness as at least 5 of the accompanying side effects that are available for at least 2 weeks and cause noteworthy, passionate pain, as well as hindrance in working. Side effects are discouraged or pitiful state of mind, irascible or effectively irritated loss of intrigue or pleasure in side interests or exercises that was recently appreciated feeling of uselessness or blame, considerations of death or suicide, trouble with concentrating, or deciding, feeling tired, or weakness, feeling anxious, or moderate changes in hunger, for example gorging, or loss of craving changes, in weight for example, weight reduction, or weight addition, and changes in rest pattern. According to the National Institute of Mental Health, sadness happens because of a mix of hereditary, natural, ecological, and mental elements. Treatment for misery comprises of cooperation in psychotherapy, taking antidepressants, or a blend of both. Nonetheless, numerous people don't partake in psychotherapy or antidepressants because of variables, for example, neglected needs, reactions, absence of access, asset, and individual decision. As of now, analysts are concentrating the viability and adequacy of minds-to-body intercessions, for example, yoga as an option, and reciprocal treatment for wretchedness. Yoga, with its source in old India, is perceived as a type of elective prescription that actualizes minds-to-body rehearses. The way of thinking of yoga depends on 8 appendages that are better depicted as moral standards for important and deliberate living. While there is no particular definition, yoga has been translated as a procedure of joining the body by means of brain and soul to advance physical and mental well-being. Yoga practices can use any or all the 8 appendages. They, by and large, include unwinding, shave asana physical stances, asana breathing guideline, strategies, pranayama, and reflection hyena. While there are various schools of yoga, some regular schools incorporate Amanda nausea, asthenia, Bikram Iyengar integral, Kundalini, Kripalu power prana, Sivananda, and Vinyasa. Sorts of yoga incorporate arrangement, situated yoga, wellness yoga, stream yoga, delicate yoga, hot yoga, claim to fame yoga, and other worldly situated yoga. There have been some known advantages of yoga. Per Woodard, 5 yoga improves adaptability, can relax muscles, bringing about diminished throbs and torment, produces adjusted vitality, lessens breathing and pulses, brings down circulatory strain and cortisol levels, increment bloodstream, and decreases pressure and uneasiness because of tranquility. Yoga practices would thus be able to improve previous ailments, for example, joint inflammation, malignant growth, dysfunctional behavior side effects, etc. There is a group of research supporting the utilization of yoga to lessen misery or burdensome side effects. Mehta and Sharma 6 distributed a methodical audit of writing on yoga and misery, looking through research articles in English from 2005 to June 2010. They checked on 18 examinations depicting the degree to which yoga has been seen as valuable as a correlative treatment for sadness and burdensome manifestations. The motivation behind this survey was to distinguish more up-to-date things about after 2011 and determine the adequacy of yoga on wretchedness. In light of this audit, proposals for future meditations have been created. Since the 1970s, contemplation and different pressure decrease methods have been read as potential medications for misery and nervousness. One such practice, yoga, has gotten less consideration in the restorative writing. However, it has turned out to be progressively well known in late decades. One national study evaluated, for instance, that about 7.5 of US grown-ups had attempted yoga, in any event, once, and that almost 4% rehearsed yoga in the earlier year. Yoga classes can fluctuate from delicate to pleasing to strenuous and testing. The decision of style will, in general, be founded on physical capacity and individual inclination. Hatha yoga, the most widely recognized sort of yoga rehearsed in the US, consolidates 3 components: physical stances called asanas, controlled breathing, rehearsed, related to asana, and a brief time of profound unwinding or reflection. How does yoga influence depression? More investigations are utilizing randomized controlled preliminaries to take a gander at the connection among yoga and despondency. Randomized controlled preliminaries are the most ideal approaches to check study results. As per the Harvard Mental Health Letter, ongoing investigations recommend that yoga can decrease the effects of pressure, help with the nervousness and wretchedness, be a self-mitigating strategy like contemplation, unwinding, and working out, improve vitality. Yoga is a physical exercise that includes diverse body, presents breathing systems, and contemplation. The treatment may help with discouragement and your side effects, for example, trouble concentrating or loss of vitality. Numerous individuals use yoga treatment to oversee mental and enthusiastic issues, for example, stress uneasiness or misery. Conditions and clutters, for example, continuous low back torment. Interminable or long-haul torment. By and large well-being and prosperity. You can discover yoga classes at wellness studios, emergency clinics, and neighborhood public venues. The classes can be delicate or testing contingent upon the style. How yoga treatment works. Dr. Mason Turner of the Emperor Permanent Therapeutic Gathering says yoga treatment can be extraordinarily superb within the treatment of misery. No matter whether or not yoga is not your forte, the combination of reflection and physical development offer two vital parts to calming unhappiness. Contemplation carries a private into the current minute and permits them to clear their psyches. Controlled targeted developments likewise facilitate and reinforce the body-mind association. Breathing activities are compelling in decreasing taxing indications, as indicated by one examination. You will discover yoga accommodating because the activity centers around profound, controlled, reposeful. To improve mindset and relaxation. Yoga may be a trademark feeling to grow monoamine synapse creation. In endeavor with the Journal of Mental Medicine and Neuroscience trusted author, monoamine synapse creation plays partner degree occupation inside the treatment of unhappiness. Monoamine synapse is acknowledged to accept a fundamental activity in happiness. One study, trusted author, also suggested people with disconsolateness have lower monoamine synapse levels. Yoga is also especially helpful gratitude to its light, calming, and fluid nature. Each form is filmable, so people of all levels can apply. Your expert individual will strengthen digestion, obsession, and wash improvement. They will, in addition, encourage you to concentrate on positive film, to calm the body and mind. To reduce stress. Yoga additionally expands your pulse fluctuation, HRV, or change in time between the heart pulsates by expanding the unwinded reaction over the pressure reaction in the body. A high HRV implies that your body is better at self-checking or adjusting, especially to low pressure. Yoga can likewise diminish resting pulse, lower circulatory strain, simplicity relaxing, increment torment resistance. One examination, as per Harvard Psychological Wellness, found that individuals who were progressively pushed had a lower torment resistance. Styles of yoga. You might be comfy with some yoga presence, for instance, remaining forward curve. Nevertheless, varied sorts of yoga shift in speed and approach. You'll investigate that sort of yoga works best at vicinity studio or public venue. Various studios can supply limits or advancements for first-time purchasers. Styles and description. Hatha incorporates gentler and slower-paced movements, best suited for beginners. Vinitsa, connections, breathing, and development together. Pacing starts moderate and step by step get quicker. Bikram, takes place in exceedingly hot area wherever you follow a group series of moves to assist blood flow. Yoga advantages patients with disconsolateness. Results from a 2017 orderly survey of randomized controlled preliminaries, RCTs, exploring yoga for patients with vital ill-being incontestable that yoga was just like each exercise and drugs in decreasing unipolar taxing indicators. In another investigation, during which specialists contrasted a twice week-by-week yoga meditation and a rate management for 12 weeks, yoga beat the standard in change taxing aspect effects. The after effects of those in-progress RCTs support previous audits, advancing yoga's guarantee for change gloom indications among members each taking and not taking higher drugs. Marine Nair, Ph.D., from the Downswing Clinical and Analysis Program, Massachusetts General Hospital, and partners composed. In any case, these discoveries area unit starter and need replication in larger, conclusive RCTs. In any case, if a patient is keen on adding yoga to their treatment, there's directly enough proof to energize their cooperation. Most RCTs assessing yoga as a treatment for melancholy took into consideration utilization of antidepressants. Therefore, the topic of immunotherapy versus connected treatment warrants additional analysis. Some proof likewise underpins yoga as a strategy for decreasing pressure, increasing thalamic levels of gamma-amino-butyric corrosive, rising state of mind and tension, and decreasing fiery markers, as indicated by Nair and partners. Despite the fact that there is an absence of research contrasting various styles of yoga practice for sadness, discoveries from exercise studies have demonstrated that getting a charge out of physical action is a solid indicator of proceeded with physical action. Nair and Associate composed. In this way, they prescribe clinicians urge patients to attempt various styles of yoga until they discover something they like to increment long-haul support of a yoga practice. A comprehension and exchange of styles of yoga with your patient could be valuable to set desires and give direction, Nair and parties clarified. Styles of yoga differ in physical force or meticulousness, temperature of the room, profound versus physical accentuation, which may have suggestions if patients have solid strict convictions or philosophical leanings, and center around the breath, pranayama. The physical stances, asana, or potentially reflection care practice, they proceeded. Talking with your patient to find out their objectives and urging them to thoroughly consider these different continuums may be helpful for setting them up for progress. Would yoga be able to treat wretchedness? Casey DeGardia was just 15 years of age when her mum passed on. The young person sank into a profound misery and wound up self-destructive. I was in a truly dim spot, says DeGardia, presently a 24-year-old in Philadelphia. I was on a few drugs and had gone to various specialists to attempt to locate the right mixed drink of pharmaceuticals that would fix me. None appeared to help. However, at that point, a companion welcomed her to a yoga class, which she chose to attempt to some extent, since she recalled her mother rehearsing yoga. I had no clue what I was getting into, she says. Be that as it may, inside a time of reliable yoga practice, she felt upbeat and restrained enough to go off her prescription altogether. The physical quality yoga offered ran parallel with my psychological quality, she says. Like DeGardia, previous examples effectively battle misery with yoga, and proof proposes it works. In one current examination, for example, specialists appointed 15 people with vital onerous issue to associate degree Ayana Yoga Programmed, a method that encompassed a solid spotlight on arrangement, security, and actual alterations with clear strides to progress in a very posture. The members took 2 associate degree hour and a 0.5 categories and finished 3 30-minute home yoga and respiration assignments each week. Following 12 weeks, mind imaging methods and state of mind measures incontestable the members' indications of melancholy improved to coordinate those of People World Health Organization did not have misery. The examination likewise found that uneasiness aspect effects that square measure generally related to gloom went down. The investigation that was distributed by Medicine Diary, London, is that the initial to demonstrate that specific yoga stances and profound respiration will expand GABA, a colligation that squares motivations between nerve cells within the neural structure and should assume employment in ill-being. Previous analysis has connected multi-week yoga programs with altogether lower scores on sorrow screening surveys. While extra examination should be done, the first ongoing headway is invigorating, since yoga might be participated in each treatment, Mastermind Streamer says. You may all around apply yoga, yet it doesn't suggest that you just ought not to use to medicate once required. The best yoga postures for depression. On the off chance that you have sorrow or basically need a temperament support, a few stances appear to be more powerful than others, discovers Iyengar yoga instructor Patricia Walden, who worked together with Streeter's group to build up a particular succession for wretchedness. Back bends, for example, open up the rib enclosure and chest, which is useful for sorrow, since it empowers strength in individuals who were in general sluggard. Inactive back bends, those upheld with props, and hand adjusts against the divider, are additionally enabling, Walden includes. Also, rehearsal-like handstands alongside a divider requests center, which is useful for individuals with misery who can become involved with ruminating contemplations. At the point when upset, they can't have whatever else on their psyches, says Walden, who educates in Massachusetts. Different stances can explicitly ease side effects of tension, which regularly goes connected at the hip with melancholy, particularly on the off chance that you practice with consistency and work towards testing stances like down pooch, Walden says. The vibes of the body conquer their contemplations. For somebody who has tension, we give them a solid physical practice. Breathing activities can likewise be an incredible enhancement to a yoga practice on the off chance that you have discouragement, tension, or both. Take a stab at rehearsing sound breathing activities, or 20 minutes of breathing at 5 breaths for every movement, investing equivalent energy breathing in and breathing out. In the event that you need a guided breathing activity, download an application like Quiet. Such activities enable individuals to get into their breath, and there's an opportunity in their bodies that they hadn't felt before class, Walden says. DiGardia utilized comparative breathing strategies to enable her to traverse troublesome minutes. I saw that when I was feeling restless, rather than going to prescription, I would go to my breath, she says. Yoga didn't change who I am, yet rather the manner in which I draw in with myself. The advantages of yoga are not restrictive to the Iyengar strategy, however. Somebody can encounter the equivalent passionate lifts under any well-prepared instructor, Streeter says. What makes a difference more is that they stay with it, which is actually what DiGardia did. Today, she has 2 yoga educator trainings added to her repertoire and is utilizing her experience to engage others in her classes. I feel like the maker of my own world, instead of the casualty of my own condition, she says. Yoga has likewise enabled me to frame solid limits and connections without the highs and the lows. Yoga helps melancholy. Proof keeps pillar up that yoga could be a shelter for each physical and emotional upbeat condition. Presently, a touch new investigation from Capital of Massachusetts School finds that taking yoga categories twofold weekly could facilitate ease discouragement due to a points to profound quiet. The investigation that was distributed within the Diary of Possibility and corresponding prescription enclosed 30 people from ages 18 to 64 with clinical misery, UN agency, either weren't taking antidepressants or had been on a relentless portion for, in any event, 3 months. Half the members were parceled out to require associate in nursing hour and a FR1 Iyengar yoga category thrice hebdomadally, even as 4 30-minute sessions reception weekly. People within the different gathering took 2 gathering categories and 3 at-home sessions systematically. Iyengar yoga categories underline arrangement, actual stances, and controlled quiet. The categories educated within the examination likewise enclosed 20 minutes of moderate, delicate respiration at a pace of 5 breaths in, breaths out through the nose each moment. After around a quarter of a year, the overwhelming majority of the people within the 2 gatherings had brought down their scores on a downswing screening poll by, in any event, FR1. As any may expect, a lot of yoga was better. The people UN agency took 3 categories for each week had lower sorrow scores than the people UN agency took 2 weekly. In any case, since varied members documented that the larger time duty was testing, the analysts very recommended 2 categories for each week, oral communication that the routine still accompanies vital benefits. That yoga is by all accounts powerful is rise news for people battling with sorrow. Lead creator Dr. Chris Streeter, partner teacher of psychopathology and system science at Capital of Massachusetts School Institution of Medication, says that the coaching has way less symptoms and potential medication connections than state-of-mind modifying medicine. The foremost well-known grumbling proclaimed within the examination was a touch one, transitory muscle irritation, and one member, full-fledged disconcerting musings, whereas acting on respiration activities reception. A few folks that haven't reacted to customary medications could act with yoga on the grounds that dissimilar to stimulant medications, yoga and profound respiration objective the involuntary sensory system, Streeter says. On the off likelihood that your involuntary sensory system is offset, at that time, the rest of the neural structure works higher, she says. Analysis demonstrates that 4/100th of people on antidepressants do not recuperate utterly from melancholy, says Streeter, that puts them at distended hazard for a drop-off. Getting that 4/100th the total distance higher is a very vital objective. Instead of, as well as another medication, I might contend that yoga, as some things else, you'll increase the treatment routine, which will facilitate. While Iyengar yoga is usually viewed as a protective, apply for people, all things thought of, it is not by any means that the sole kind with medical benefits, Streeter includes. It depends upon UN agency, the individual is, and what they're checking out, she says. For the current, what is cheap is that the type with the foremost medical benefits are going to be whichever kinds you stick with. How science supports yoga as a remedy for ill-being. Zoloft, Prozac, and various completely different disreputable antidepressants have had thousands, if not an enormous range of bucks, subsiding analysis on their benefits. At the same time, what could be the world's best ill-being treatment remains dependently under-tried and under-advertised, above all in light weight of the very fact that there's no organization that stands build enough money off of it to assist its advancement. In any case, very little investigations are directed, and on various occasions this supernatural incidence fix has incontestable its viability. Nonetheless, its absence of negative reactions, and many positive aspect advantages too. What is this supernatural incident sedate? It's something, however, a medicine by any stretch of the imagination, its activity. Studies directed at Duke School within the late 90s and middle 2000s uncovered that once solely a month, patients of serious disconsolateness, United Nations Agency, practiced day by day, as against taking drugs knowledgeable 95 to 100% of the development doctor prescribed medications delivered in their non-practicing partners. Moreover, a multi-month follow-up incontestable that the activity simply gathering preserved the foremost noteworthy abatement and stay well rate. So, what's it concerning exercise that may therefore radically improve our disposition? Scientists speculate it comes all the way down to the way during which our cerebrum's square measure wired. Like most species, we tend to develop as dynamic life forms. Researchers advocate that our cerebrum's square measure primarily not meant to trot out existence, while not physical movement. On the aspect of this rivalry, Explore uncovers that activity assists with ill-being, nonetheless, additionally tension and even substance reliance. Researchers have detected that all the same adjusting monoamine neurotransmitter and neurochemical levels apply produces common artificial aggravates that facilitate colligation, development, and support. Neuroscience analysts have in addition discovered that activity will activate qualities to increment gelatin, an organic compound that mitigates the cerebrum body pressure reaction. At the top of the day, exercise will facilitate the disturbed, even as the discouraged. In any case, requests to induce the foremost profit by exercise, no matter whether or not we're expecting misery, stress, tension, or the bulk of the above mentioned, will not rely upon cardio alone. While vigorous movement assumes a key job in physical and mental upbeat, extending, quality making ready, and increase our body's center muscles square measure, mostly crucial components to maintaining ideal prosperity. One examination uncovered that, in any event, extending for 15 to 20 minutes alone might diminish discouragement by concerning half-hour. Connection extending with different types of physical movement offers significantly a lot of distinguished benefits. By incorporating extending, reinforcing, and adjusting workouts, yoga for melancholy offers most likely the most effective strategy for lifting one's state of mind. Studies have made public yoga's capability to battle ill-being through adjusting mind science and stress secretion levels. Through a standard yoga schedule, we will haul ourselves out of mythical place of misery and rise once more to understand imperativeness and motivation in our everyday lives. A progression of new examinations brings yoga one bit nearer to turning into a suggested treatment for melancholy, in the wake of finding that the training can decrease manifestations of the condition. It's evaluated that around 16.1 million grown-ups in the US have encountered in any event one burdensome scene in the previous year, making gloom one of the most widely recognized emotional wellness issues in the nation. Antidepressants remain the essential treatment for melancholy, yet they may not profit all patients. It's evaluated that around 10 to 30% of patients with sadness either neglect to react to antidepressants or experience just gentle upgrades matched with serious symptoms. Considering this, specialists are on the chase for new mediations that can help current medications for sadness. Could yoga address this issue? Yoga is a mind-body practice that has seen a huge ascent in prominence over ongoing years. As per figures from the Nationality Community for Reciprocal and Integrative Well-Being, around 13 million US grown-ups have rehearsed yoga in the previous year. Of these grown-ups, 58% report rehearsing yoga to help keep up their well-being and prosperity. Mitigation of back torment and stress are among the most well-known reasons referred to for rehearsing yoga, yet studies have progressively recommended that it could likewise be utilized to help treat misery. One investigation revealed by Medical News Today a year ago, for instance, related breathing-based yoga with enhancements in burdensome manifestations of few patients with the condition. An assortment of new investigations displayed more than 3 sessions at the American Mental Affiliation's 125th yearly show, held in Washington, D.C., give additional proof of this affiliation. How meditation assists with depression. Sadness keeps on being a significant medical problem for more seasoned grown-ups. It influences about 20% of grown-ups aged 65 and more seasoned, and standard sadness can prompt higher dangers for coronary illness and demise from sicknesses. It additionally influences individuals' everyday lives by making them all the more socially segregated and influencing intellectual capacity, particularly memory. Actually, an investigation of 1,111 individuals, normal age 71, distributed online May 9, 2018 by Neurology, found that the individuals who had more noteworthy side effects of gloom likewise had more awful long-winded memory, the capacity to review explicit encounters and occasions. There are numerous approaches to treat misery. Antidepressants and psychotherapy are the typical first-in-line medications. However, progressing examination has recommended that a customary reflection practice can help by changing how the mind reacts to pressure and tension. How your mind responds. Stress and uneasiness are significant triggers of despondency, and contemplation can change your response to those emotions. Reflection prepares the cerebrum to accomplish supported center and to come back to that center when negative reasoning, feelings, and physical sensations interfere, which happens a great deal when you feel pushed on the edge, says Dr. John W. Menninger, Executive of Research at the Benson Henry Institute for Mind-Body Medicine at Harvard subsidiary Massachusetts General Hospital. Has been found to change certain cerebrum locales that are explicitly connected with misery. For example, researchers have demonstrated that the average prefrontal cortex, MPFC, winds up hyperactive in discouraged individuals. The MPFC is frequently called the me focus, since this is the place you process data about yourself. For example, stressing over the future and ruminating about the past. At the point when individuals get worried about existence, the MPFC goes into overdrive. Another cerebrum district related with gloom is the amygdala, or dread focus. This is the piece of the mind liable for the battle or fight-of-flight reaction, which triggers the adrenal organs to discharge the pressure hormone cortisol in light of dread and sore threat. These two cerebrum districts work off one another to cause sorrow. The me focus gets worked up, responding to pressure and tension, and the dread focus reaction prompts a spike in cortisol levels to battle a peril that is just in your psyche. Research has discovered that reflection helps break the association between these two mind districts. At the point when you contemplate, you're better ready to disregard the negative impressions of stress and tension, which clarifies, to a limited extent, why feelings of anxiety fall when you ponder, says Dr. Denninger. Another way contemplation helps the cerebrum is by securing the hippocampus, a mind territory associated with memory. One examination found that individuals who ruminated for 30 minutes per day for about 2 months expanded the volume of dim issue in their hippocampus, and other research has demonstrated that individuals who experience the ill effects of repetitive wretchedness will in general have a littler hippocampus. Change your reasoning. The point of contemplation isn't to push aside worry or square negative reasoning, but instead to see those musings and emotions, at the same time understanding that you don't need to follow upon them. This could be as basic as shutting your eyes and rehashing a solitary expression or word, or checking breaths. This gives you some good ways from those negative contemplations or distressing sentiments, enabling you to perceive that, in spite of the fact that they influence you, they are not you, says Dr. Denninger. Reflection, likewise, can help set up the mind for distressing circumstances. For instance, ruminating for a couple of minutes before a medical checkup or social circumstance can help move the cerebrum and body out of the pressure reaction and into a condition of relative quiet. However, similarly, likewise, with following an appropriate eating regimen and exercise, it sets aside some effort to feel results from customary contemplation. However, with training, reflection can enable numerous individuals to control how they respond to pressure and uneasiness that frequently prompts gloom, says Dr. Denninger. Meditation. Care-based pressure decreases, MBSR, is an institutionalized mediation that plans to expand care through reflection by methodically concentrating consideration on each piece of the body in succession, rehearsing delicate hatha yoga, and taking an interest in gathering discourse. MBSR has been contemplated in members with an assortment of therapeutic issues and has been appeared to diminish pressure, misery, weakness, torment, and gorge eating. However, an ongoing audit of 15 investigations on the impact of MBSR found no unmistakable constructive outcomes on wretchedness, side effects in patients with comorbid restorative issue, or in patients with state of mind issue alone. Mindful reflection is likewise joined with CBT to treat despondency and anticipate relapse. Although there is little proof for the adequacy of MBSR or reflection as an elective treatment for melancholy, there are a few signs that care may supplement CBT in changing reasoning examples related with depression. Adding care, preparing as a method for avoiding backslide, is powerful in patients whose downturn has repeated at least multiple times. At the point with yoga, reflection, and count calories aren't sufficient to remedy discouragement. What started as a conventional and right endeavor turned into an unsafe move in which I committed some of essential blunders that about fetched me my life. Doing everything right. More than 2 years prior, I was disappointed that I couldn't dispose of my demise musings in the wake of being on such a great amount of prescription for such a large number of years. So I dove into the universe of integrative and all-encompassing drugs. I took each salivation, blood, and stool test that exists to quantify my cortisol, hormones, gut status, supplements, and nourishment prejudices. I changed my eating routine and dispensed with gluten, sugar, caffeine, and dairy. I just removed liquor. I did broad research on which enhancements to take and included nutrients, B12, C, D, and E, probiotics, turmeric, omega-3, unsaturated fats, alpha-lipoic corrosive, amino acids, magnesium, coconut oil, and iron. I drank 2 green smoothies consistently. I took the 8-week Concentrated Mindfulness-Based Stress Reduction (MBSR) program dependent on John Kabat-Zinn's work at the Stress Reduction Clinic at the University of Massachusetts Medical School in Worcester and began to contemplate every day. I submerged myself in hot yoga, rehearsing 5 or 6 times each week. I conceded to helping other people, attempting to rise above my agony that way, making 2 online gatherings, committed to individuals battling with treatment-safe sorrow. I joined myself to the modern science called epigenetics, the examination of genetic changes that aren't brought almost by an alteration in DNA course of action. Pamela Peaked, MD, Beat of the Lion author The Starvation Settle, unveiled it to me along these lines. On the off chance that you simply can alter certain key choices, your eating regime, how you handle your weight, your physical movement, it takes after composing notes within the edge of your genome, and you'll flip the alter to assist and guarantee your prosperity. Epigenetics is solidly recognized with the thought of neuroplasticity that says we aren't cleared out with the intellect that we were brought into the world with. We have more space than we might suspect we do to facilitate our prosperity toward repairing and wholeness. Thinking in black and white, I needed to accept beyond what anything that I could fix myself of my bipolar issue and my treatment-safe despondency with the correct eating routine, workout, stress, decreased devices, and contemplation. Stress decreased devices and contemplation. The majority of my activities through the span of 9 months had the option to convey me to a spot where the passing contemplation stopped. So I expected that the meds I'd been taking truly didn't do anything other than cause or add to a large group of interminable sicknesses I had created through the span of 10 years: connective tissue issues, Raynaud's wonder, thyroid ailment, knobs, a pituitary tumor, incendiary inside illness, small digestive system, microscopic organisms, abundance or SIBO, and coronary illness. That is the place I turned out badly. High contrast thinking. Brought up in a drunkard home, I've consistently attempted to accomplish a nuanced viewpoint. I quit working with my therapist since I trusted I could normally recuperate from my temperament issues with the assistance of an all-encompassing specialist. A great integrative doctor, he has effectively guided my general well-being, the majority of the conditions referenced previously. In any case, a state of mind issue as intricate and serious as mine requires mental ability, which he is without. I started to decrease of my psychotropic meds too forcefully. The decreasing agreed with some different stressors. A new perspective from my daughter. Made plans to discover a non-medicate arrangement, I attempted transracial attractive incitement, TMS, a non-intrusive system that animates nerve cells in the cerebrum with short attractive heartbeats. Endorsed by the FDA in 2008, TMS includes an enormous electromagnetic loop that is set against your scalp. The curl creates centered heartbeats that go through your skull and animate the cerebral cortex of your mind, a district that manages disposition. While I felt an underlying lift from my downturn following TMS treatment, my uneasiness declined, making self-destructive contemplations that were much increasingly exceptional and urgent, as though there was a slim shroud among life and demise, and I didn't have the foggiest idea to what extent I could gather the poise to remain on the correct side. The arrangement, 45 sessions on the whole, sent me into a risky, blended condition of insanity and discouragement, something that can occur if a bipolar individual does the treatment without a sufficient state of mind stabilizer. At a certain point, part of the way through the arrangement, I was crying when I lifted my girl up from school. I couldn't tranquil my agonizing ruminations in any event when I was with her. "I feel like you're never going to show signs of improvement," she stated, beginning to cry herself. She delayed, and after that, her breathing broken, I simply feel like somebody's going to kick the bucket. She started to cry. As much as I didn't need her to be correct, I realized she was. My daughter has consistently been very natural, and she could feel it in her spirit that I was not far away from the grave. 2 weeks after she said that, we lost a relative to suicide. His passing constrained another point of view. Living with a life-threatening illness. I understood I needed to do completely all that I could to ensure my life. In an interest to recuperate myself normally, I had been playing too intimately with death, and I couldn't state to what extent I could endure doing this move. I was at long last prepared to acknowledge constant sickness and tumours and terrible symptoms so as to remain alive. Just because since my auntie and backup parent ended her life 30 years prior, I saw the perilous edge of my disease and realized that, while I can surely improve my manifestations with normal cures and potentially decrease the measure of drugs I need, there's no getting away altogether from my disposition issue. In the frightening a long time since Thanksgiving, I've learned 3 key things that I trust I always remember insofar as I'm doing combating bipolar issue. It's completely basic to be under the correct consideration. Prescription can be life-saving and is now and again essential. While we would all be able to plan to mend ourselves in the more extensive feeling of the word, a few of us essentially can't fix ourselves altogether of our conditions. Best case scenario, we can oversee them with an assortment of medications, both characteristic and conventional. I returned as of late to my previous specialist, who had figured out how to keep me stable for a long time, just as to my advisor, whom I've worked with for a long time. Feeling somewhat like the extravagant child, I expressed gratitude toward her for her fantastic consideration in years past and requested her assistance in getting great again. "We'll arrive," she said. "We'll arrive." 11 sorts of contemplation that can offer assistance and treat depression. The old-fashioned schedule with respects to thought, utilized for impressive lengths of time in India and China, now appears in sure as a treatment within the apparatus stash for despairing. The numerous different sorts of thought all search for a condition of expanded mindfulness, says E. Robert Schwartz, M.D., Chief of the Osher Center for Integrative Medicine at the College of Miami Mill, Operator School of Pharmaceutical, which uplifted mindfulness seem have far-running advantages for people with distress and uneasiness. There may be a strong start within the neuroscience zone, and the brain investigate space. The reflection and keen hones can alter your cerebrum physiology, Dr. Schwartz says. Obviously, you wish to truly do it. Figuring out how to bargain along with your considerations requires a few genuine vitality, essentialness, and commitment, Dr. Schwartz says. Remember that receiving a contemplation practice doesn't mean you relinquish meds and different medicines for sorrow that you may as of now be utilizing. Reflection, especially care contemplation, has been demonstrated to be useful in treating sorrow, yet it ought to be utilized as a piece of ordinary medicinal consideration under the supervision of a doctor, and not as a substitute for customary restorative consideration, says Aditi Naruka, M.D., Therapeutic Executive of the Cheng Sui Integrated Health Center at Beth Israel Deaconess Medical Center in Boston. Cherishing thoughtfulness contemplation centers around making a mentality of affection and generosity towards yourself as well as other people. A few examinations have discovered that individuals who practice this sort of contemplation have less wretchedness, a progressively uplifting viewpoint, less negative feelings, and more prominent empathy. Cherishing generosity reflection may likewise help control self-analysis, which underlies various distinctive emotional well-being issues. One examination discovered decreases in self-analysis went on for at any rate 3 months after the real reflection sessions had finished. A related kind of reflection, sympathy contemplation, stresses genuine empathy and has likewise been connected with better mindset and less negative emotions. Care reflection. Care reflection may be viewed as the mother of all contemplation. Numerous different sorts of contemplation have originated from care, and it might have the most logical proof supporting it. Care reflection is a minute-to-minute attention to the present minute, says Dr. Naruka. It utilizes your breath to make a grapple to hold taking your consideration back to the present minute and help with psychological retraining. Studies have demonstrated that care contemplation may lessen sadness, just as uneasiness and stress. The Society for Integrative Oncology prescribes utilizing care contemplation to ease gloom and uneasiness in malignant growth patients, and studies have even archived manners by which care changes mind. Care-based subjective treatment. This is a subset of care reflection that mixes contemplation with intellectual social treatment, or CBT. CBT is one of the most broadly utilized tips of treatment for sorrow and other psychological wellness concerns, and spotlights on changing, harming thinking and personal conduct standards. MBCT was first created to anticipate backsides in quite a while with intermittent sadness. Later proof recommends that it might likewise help individuals with dynamic wretchedness. An ongoing investigation of the comparative conduct actuation with care, BAM, which fuses social treatment with a care practice, found that it decreased side effects of melancholy like changes in rest, hunger, and state of mind. BAM is an inventive kind of meditation, says Samuel Y. S. Wong, MD, lead creator of the examination and teacher, and head of Family Drug and Essential Human Services at the J.C. School of Public Health and Primary Care at the Chinese University of Hong Kong. The two segments resemble yin and yang. Breath mindfulness meditation. Consciousness of your breath is a key segment of various types of reflection, especially care contemplation. Care contemplation utilizes the object of your breath to concentrate on, to help with mind preparing, says Dr. Naruka. Breath mindfulness reflection may likewise be called careful relaxing. As meager as 15 minutes every day of concentrating on the breathing in and breathing out can yield a state of mind benefits, including reduced enthusiastic reactivity. What's more, you don't really need to put aside exceptional time to focus on your breathing. Many individuals discover approaches to join consciousness of their breath for the duration of the day. It very well may be finished sitting, standing, or resting, and with your eyes open or shut, supernatural meditation, transcendental reflection, or TM, because it's known to encompass a huge taking after around the world. Instead of utilizing the breath to stay your consideration, supernatural reflection employment sound, or an individual mantra, frequently 1 or 2 syllables as the anchor, Dr. Naruka explains. One consider of instructors and staff at a private school for understudies with extreme behavioral problems, in other words, people with high-stress jobs, found that supernatural reflection moved forward stress discouragement and burnout, which the benefits kept going for months. Visualization. Many individuals discover that centering on charming pictures instead of negative ones invigorates calm. Visualization or guided symbolism reflection can be driven by another individual. Otherwise, you can coordinate your claim session by utilizing one of the scores of recordings accessible online. Imagery can moreover be utilized to alter how you review negative recollections. 3 steps involved. Step 1. Sit up standing. A few examinations have demonstrated careful reflection is compelling in combating misery, and is especially powerful in averting backslide for the individuals who have encountered scenes of major depression. To rehearse care contemplation, you'll first need to sit up standing on a seat or on the floor. Pick a room without interruptions. It may be ideal to pick a specific corner of the room. Try not to confront anything invigorating, similar to a TV or window. Attempt to confront a clear divider if possible. Sit in a way that feels good. You need to have the option to concentrate on your breath and self as opposed to sentiments of physical distress. You can sit on the floor, a pad, or a seat with a straight back. Ensure you pick a seat that doesn't squirm around, attempting to sit upright when you're ruminating so as to make breathing easier. Spot your hands on your thighs, confronting descending. Keep your eyes to some degree open, with your look concentrating on the divider or floor. Ensure your hips are higher than your knees. Step 2. Sit for a couple of minutes, keeping your insight focused on the showcase smaller than usual. At the point when you're masterminded, placed in almost no time, taking right by and by. Know roughly your position, your body, and your condition. Your acumen will, in all likelihood, twist sooner or a short time later. Right when this occurs, cautiously return your contemplations to your body and your condition. Step 3. Feel your breath. In the wake of putting in almost no time concentrating on the present, direct your concentration toward your breath. Breathing is a characteristic, cadence procedure. Focus on how air comes through all your lungs. Channel all your consideration on your breath. There's no compelling reason to control your breath or take with a certain goal in mind. Simply focus on its common cadence. Keep your consideration on your body and condition, notwithstanding your relaxing. Attempt to put it in almost no time, breathing and concentrating on the present. By and by, if your mind meanders, attempt to take things back to the present. Take a stab at rehearsing stomach breathing, either sitting up or resting. On the off chance that you intend to sit up, ensure you sit upright so you can inhale all the more effectively. Spot one hand on your chest and another on your lower stomach. Take so that the hand on your stomach rises, while the one on your chest stays still. Take in through your nose and out through your mouth. Rehash for the same number of breaths as it takes for you to start to feel quieted and sincerely backed off. Body check meditation. Body check reflection includes concentrating on various pieces of your body successively. Like breathing mindfulness, you can do this resting, sitting, or in different stances, and with your eyes open or shut. As you move your thoughtfulness regarding various pieces of your body, you likewise center on breathing in and breathing out profoundly. Body check-in is by all accounts connected with better perception of musings, sentiments, and sensations, and less extraordinary responses to push. One examination that saw body check contemplation among different types of care found less sadness backslides in individuals with bipolar issue from a proper routine with regards to simply once every week. Barack Obama once said he discovered washing dishes relieving. Tidying up may not be a proper reflection practice, however, redundant movement, including cleaning pots and containers, may prompt a specific, more quiet mental state on the off chance that you do it carefully. At any rate, one examination bolsters this thought, finding careful dishwashers showed more care and less apprehension than the individuals who didn't clean up carefully. It's the dreary activity that doesn't require any genuine idea, says Dr. Schwartz. It's equivalent to physical exercise. You're utilizing the activity or the physical work as a method for quieting your psyche, centering, and expelling the majority of the incidental musings that the majority of us have during waking hours. Reciting. Numerous reflection conventions use reciting or intermittent tolls of a gong as an approach to center the psyche. Reciting is a methodology to land at a smaller kind of reflective state, says Dr. Schwartz. You utilize that to pick up your capacity to center. One examination found that dynamic sought-through practices like reciting and yoga appeared to enact portions of the mind engaged with guideline of mindset and enthusiastic control. To get more tales about emotional well-being conveyed to your inbox, pursue the Healthy Living Bulletin. Strolling meditation. Strolling, obviously, is useful for both your physical and emotional well-being. Be that as it may, a mobile reflection may take you to another level. Oxygen-consuming strolling combined with Buddhist contemplation 3 times each week for 12 weeks diminished melancholy, as well as improved adaptability and parity in a little gathering of more seasoned grown-ups in one investigation. Ruminating previously or in the wake of strolling, for as meager as 10 minutes one after the other, additionally brought down tension in more youthful grown-ups in other research. Contemplation is about figuring out how to center your psyche, as well as to loosen up your brain, says Dr. Schwartz. You're adapting now to take your mind back to impartial, and you can do that while strolling, as well as with numerous types of activity, he includes. 4 meditation tips that actually work for one who struggles with chronic anxiety. Halt and drop. Not a meditator, however? Sometime recently, I had the alternative to induce into it. A companion appeared me a stunt that was a not too bad break degree. Halt. What's more, drop, she would state, by which she inferred, halt your head and drop into your heart. As I state, the thing around apprehension, it's everything head. So anything that gets us out of our heads is awesome. It works as a substitute muscle. I utilize to keep a post-it note joined to my PC at my office with halt, furthermore, drop, composed on it. Many times each day, I take a gander at it and drop my heart for a small minute. Roll a wipe around your cranium. In case you're a conventional meditator and pressure makes it dubious, presently, and once more, include this redirecting stunt to your standard mix. Imagine a wipe softly working its way around inside your head, engaging, cleaning up the little on-edge pockets. The mantra or breath moves the wipe around. You'll find yourself inside your head extends. Profound gut breathing additionally works. On the off chance that you do not intellect, note that consideration is preposterously difficult when you're too much on edge. It exceptionally well may be an expansion too much distance. The gear shift from a fit of uneasiness to a still identity is too much thrilling, so endeavour a few significant paunch breathing or maybe at such events. A heap of science shows up to assist the prepping. Dr. Richard Brown, an accomplished clinical educator of psychiatry at Columbia College and co-author of The Recuperating Control of the Breath, says that significant controlled breathing confers to the body that all is well, which down oversees the weight response, facilitating backbeat, involving blood, back to the intellect and the stomach-related system, and progressing opinions of calm. To urge the leading in prosperity passed on to your inbox, seek after the well-being bulletin. Have an appreciation, customers powerless, because it sounds around evening time. After I move into bed, I fair reflect for 1 or 2 of minutes on 5 things that fly into my intellect that I'm grateful for. What's more, state thank you for them. For the most part, they're worn-out things, as thank you for the flukeness that salmon was on special, the exceptional day I go to buy salmon. Or thank you for my mate Rick, who called nowadays, fair to state he missed me. Who am I expressing appreciation towards? I get it's the universe. It may be God for you. I don't seek a result, be that because it may feel it's exceptionally incredible doing it. Have an appreciation custom. It's as in spite of the fact that at that time of appreciation everything bodes well. Alex Orb composes within the thankful brain appreciation can have such an astounding impact on your life, since it draws in your intellect in a high-minded cycle. Your cerebrum fair has such an extraordinary sum of capacity to concentrate. It can, on, as it were, with critical exertion, centre around both positive and negative enhancements. What it's like to meditate with depression. The World Health Organization, as of late, recorded despondency as the main source of sick well-being and incapacity around the world. It's a worldwide issue, and one for which numerous potential arrangements have been investigated. Contemplation and care are instances of arrangements that have developed quickly in prominence as of late. The impact of reflection on uneasiness and melancholy, two diseases which are frequently intently interlinked, is promising. One 2017 examination concentrated on 2 gatherings of grown-ups experiencing generalized anxiety disorder, GAD, one of which investigated treatment utilizing care-based pressure decrease. This gathering detailed lower levels of worry in the body, as contrasted and a comparative gathering who didn't get a similar reflection preparing. In spite of the unmistakable science and advantages, many are reluctant to take up contemplation as a type of recuperation. I know, since I was one of these individuals. My voyage with wretchedness included a long battle, and my recuperation was prevented by numerous interior fights. I had to grapple with the idea that I wasn't the solid, disapproved of character that I recently trusted myself to be. Also, that maybe I didn't exactly fit in with the biased cultural thoughts of being a man. I presently realize that this generally will be false. However, this inner clash left me battling my downturn, as if it were a war to be won. At the point when contemplation was suggested by an advisor as a method for setting aside some effort to unwind, reflect, and acknowledge my present circumstance, I quickly avoided it. I originally read about the acknowledgement in Claire Wick's book, Self-Improvement for Your Nerves. At the time, it didn't exactly line up with my craving to wage fighting on what was going on inside my head. At first, reflection and acknowledgement drew implications of long, quiet withdrawals at sanctuaries in far-off mountains. I've generally been a for all intents and purposes disproved of individual, yet having been youthful and credulous at the time, I wasn't set up to be convinced generally, particularly when that reasoning was obfuscated by the rationale-stripping nature of gloom. Months passed, and I wasn't discovering alleviation, rather urgency made me feel iller, and it turned out to be as certain that my procedure of battling wasn't working. It was then that I gone back to the thoughts of care, unwinding, and acknowledgement. I again grabbed Week's book, which turned into my recuperation book of scriptures, and invested in a daily practice of everyday reflection. I won't lie, it was unfathomably difficult to think from the start. Attempting to unwind and acknowledge considerations of suicide and misery felt like an unimaginable errand, and I clumsily squirmed my way through reflection. In any case, when I started to separate myself from sadness, and to consider it to be an outside issue that didn't characterize me, it turned out to be a lot simpler to rehearse contemplation. I won't state that I delighted in thinking about my darker considerations, yet I started to understand that they didn't need to be changeless. These times of reflection turned into an incredible time for me to assess where I was at with my psychological wellness. I couldn't evaluate the highs and lows that I'd encountered during that day or week. Even better, I could really feel the positive effects of contemplation. This may be obvious, given that reflection physically changes our cerebrums. Research has been discovered that the individuals who think every day can encounter a breakdown in the neural associations in the mind that incite sentiments of dread or nervousness. Moreover, it manufactures associations in the cerebrum that identify with our degree of sympathy, just as our capacity to survey issues sanely. An examination directed by Harvard Medical School found that positive changes can occur after only 2 months of starting a contemplation practice. These progressions likewise have the additional advantage of reinforcing our memory and expanding our degrees of satisfaction. It turned out to be obvious to me that the reflection was the ideal expertise to create when encountering despondency. While at times intense, rehearsing reflection would energize satisfaction when despondency posed a potential threat. Furthermore, to discover that contemplation could be similarly as powerful as upper prescription was colossally reassuring, as I never felt open to taking pills. I understood that contemplation should have been a customary apparatus in my life, particularly now, when I can joyfully say that contemplation remains some portion of my day-by-day schedule and enables me to explore despondency with a more noteworthy feeling of simplicity. In case you're enduring and uncertain where to turn, here are 2 significant recommendations. Right off the bat, you may feel that reflection isn't for you, and that's okay. Understand that it is anything but a need, however, it absolutely helped me. What is significant is to figure out how to acknowledge a circumstance instead of battle it, and to likewise comprehend that everything changed. In spite of the fact that there might be a foreboding shadows at present, the blue sky is never excessively a long ways behind, which has been an instrumental new point of view for me. Besides, do whatever it takes not to overpower yourself with musings about what the correct routine may be. There are numerous roads accessible, and I regularly and pointlessly worried myself about whether a blend of schedules was the right one. Reflection is one great device, and it tends to be useful to utilize it related to different schedules. Consider different components, for example, day-by-day exercise and treatment. For me, I found cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, very valuable, particularly when I utilized in mix with the care-based methodology of reflection. Locate a normal that agrees with you and attempt to stay with it. While it might require some investment, an everyday practice alongside acknowledgement can incredibly improve emotional well-being. Nothing worked for my downturn until I attempted meditation. I have been on an inappropriate side of glad since I was 4, when my folks split. I don't recall a feeling of decimation, yet I question this was a happenstance. An unfriendly youth occasion, for example, separate from the expanse of the danger and gloom, particularly when combined with my dad's history of psychological maladjustment. Qualities assume a job in state of mind issue, however they don't compose your fate. A similar way, having a family ancestry of liquor addiction doesn't mean you'll turn into a heavy drinker. I had been modestly discouraged as long as I can remember. I held on to control of it when I quit accusing my history and centered for my mind, in particular the negative idea circles that were holding me down. Research demonstrates that elements, for example, unfulfilling work and expanding disconnection, influence our state of mind. However, making excellent life changes, for example, leaving your place of employment so you can hurl your drugs, is definitely not a sensible alternative for most. What's more, for some, for example me, that probably won't work. Promotion. I adored my first employment. I worked with rousing partners on important activities, yet the weight of sustaining myself left me with butterflies in my stomach for a year. Uneasiness declined my downturn, setting off a fit of anxiety that left me wheezing for a chair, and feeling as if the world were crumbling around me. A quieting medical caretaker and a remedy for Xanax may have spared my life. The start of my depression is difficult to pinpoint when my downturn began. I know my propensity for ruminating, a hazard factor for misery, began before I could tie my shoes. I stressed over everything, from the devastation of the downpour woodland to my family's security. In the event that I let my gatekeeper down, I was certain fiasco would strike. Be that as it may, my first determination didn't come until my last year of secondary school. After over a half year of unconstrained crying spells, episodes of distrustfulness, and finding a fractious inside disorder, I told my mother I required assistance. My dad never understood his temperament, so I knew the abomination signs. A therapist determined me to have clinical misery at 17 and proposed Prozac, however I was reluctant to attempt it. Promotion. I oversaw without prescription in school. My spells of despair just kept going on, a couple of days one after another, yet that changed soon enough. Tension tormented me once I began my profession as a paper photojournalist. My downturn settled in like an infection that wouldn't leave. I held out expectation that I would precipitously wake up invigorated. Be that as it may, for quite a while I didn't recuperate. Despite everything I accomplished, every one of the things typical individuals did, I even got the chance to do them while experiencing passionate feelings for and seeking after my energy. Yet it felt as if I were walking during each time with lead-filled boots and a stone on my chest. Realizing the world shouldn't feel so overwhelming exacerbated me. Feel even? At that point, when I got hitched at 29, I could never again conceal how discouraged I was. My understanding spouse asked me to look outside for assistance. It's not ordinary to need to lie in bed constantly, he precisely brought up. How I mended. My hopelessness was not the after effect of a basic condition, for example, a thyroid issue or hormone lopsidedness. My PCP let me know. Endeavours at positive way of life changes didn't make a big deal about a distinction. No measure of practicing or mingling made getting up simpler. Talk treatment was a failure as well. Analysis never facilitated my indications. Incidentally, I didn't build up the correct adapting aptitudes. I attempted care to stop drinking. It really worked. These vain endeavours to lift my downturn drove me to medicine. I attempted a specific serotonin reuptake inhibitor for tension, however it didn't help with my downturn. I found a pill that facilitated my burdensome scenes, a serotonin norepinephrine reuptake inhibitor, however it neglected to assuage my uneasiness. What's more, going with this new medication were reactions, for example weight increase and stoppage that I couldn't endure for a lifetime. While prescription is fruitful for a few and studies demonstrate that it very well may be best for treating those with extreme sorrow, sadly, antidepressants regularly give deficient alleviation to those with moderate misery, for example, me. I chose to attempt contemplation when pharmaceuticals let me down. A developing assemblage of research upheld the utilization of care methods for avoiding a downturn backslide, and a companion of mine who fought tension had discovered alleviation through the training. I downloaded the Headspace application onto my phone and put aside some time to give it a shot. My mind felt scattered for the initial couple of 10-minute sessions with Andy Pudicum, the previous Buddhist priest, who aids audience members bit by bit through reflection. In any case, after about 7 days, I saw a move in my reasoning. In the session, Pudicum let me know not to stop my negative musings, however, to respite and notice them. At that point, return my concentration to my relaxing. This helped me separate myself from the thoughts going around in my mind. I stayed with it consistently. After a month, my consideration felt progressively strong. I could see my contemplations all the more obviously. I was struck by how frequently I was up to speed in a negative idea circle. Would I say I was excelling at work? Did I get new wrinkles? Is the economy guide's crash? The more I watched this propensity, the more I intruded on it before I spiraled crazy. I could see the stress, and I could realize it without dwelling on it. Before long, I understood I wasn't having these idea circles by any means. I was assuming back responsibility for my brain, and by augmentation, my mindset. This leap forward was gigantic. I had been clinically discouraged for over 15 years. I figured this issue would keep going on forever. Nobody had ever recommended that I could change these idea designs that made me stressed and on edge. Reflection sort of tells us the best way to step again from that reasoning and that feeling and to really observe it, said Pudicum, fellow benefactor of Headspace. As you delve into that, at the point even the inclination or the vibe of tension begins to separate a smidgen and not feel so obvious or so lasting. Rumination is the point at which the cerebrum becomes involved with negative contemplation, as it attempts to issue, understand, and cause unsavory emotions to leave, said Judson Brewer, executive of research at the Middle for Care at the College of Massachusetts Medicinal School. This procedure can be difficult to relinquish on the off chance that you've been caught in such deduction for quite a while, regardless of whether you would prefer not to do it any longer. The nature of inclination on edge is agreeable in light of the fact that it's commonplace, said Brewer, a specialist and the maker of the loosening up nervousness application. Our cerebrums truly don't care for things that are unique, thus they can get on edge that they're not restless. Research demonstrates that discouraged individuals may remain as such in light of the fact it's a piece of their feeling of self. Lifting my down state of mind was hard in light of the fact that it had been a piece of my character for such a long time. It was horrendous, yet it was what I was utilized to. Before I turned out to be effectively careful, my stressing could continue for quite a long time, or days, before a quickly pulsating heart alarmed me to my worries. Tension prompted burdensome spells, which prompted bad dreams. At the point when I turned out to be progressively mindful, I deliberately ended my considerations and restored my concentration to the occasion, halting my exciting ride of responses and improving my rest simultaneously. This has been Meditation for Beginners, a simple guide to learn how to relieve anxiety, depression, and stress, find peace and happiness with meditation and yoga.
This video is sponsored by Zen 12, the most powerful meditation audio ever. All the benefits of 1 hour's meditation in just 12 minutes. To claim your free Zen 12 MP3 audio, click the link in the description below.